Chapter 48:16. Black King. Do you know about destiny stones? Step by step, Jiang Chen walked deeper into the forest. From time to time, two groundhogs would jump out. Birds and beasts were a common sight, but they were all small animals that couldn't even be considered as demonic beasts. Destiny stones are unique to the Heaven Awaken planet. I've heard that this thing can awaken a destiny astral soul, but it's very difficult. The Black King said seriously. Destiny astral soul? What's a destiny astral soul? Jiang Chen said with a puzzled expression. This was the first time he had heard of this, and he was filled with curiosity. It's the destiny astral soul of a star state. Only those who reach the star state can awaken it. According to ancient legends, everyone is a star in the sky. As long as you awaken your destiny astral soul, you will be able to light up a star in the vast universe. However, it was extremely difficult to awaken one's own natal astral soul. Since ancient times, there were only a handful of stellar-level beings who could awaken their natal astral soul. Even for the nebula realm above the stellar level, only 1 in 10,000 would be able to do so. This is equivalent to the intelligence of some ordinary spirit beasts. Once they awaken it, their power and intelligence will increase to another level. As for the innate astral souls, they are the gates to the universe. I don't know how powerful the innate astral souls are, because I've never awakened one before. However, my master did. In any case, awakening one's innate astral soul is an extremely terrifying thing. There are only benefits and no disadvantages. The Black King said seriously. Jiang Chen hadn't seen the Black King this serious in a long time. It shouldn't be easy to awaken it with the destiny stones here, right? Otherwise, the Knights of Heaven Awaken and even the people of the Heaven Awaken planet will definitely not let this place go. Jiang Chen said. Although heavenly mandate astral souls were described by the Black King as divine, it wasn't so easy to awaken one's own heavenly mandate astral soul. The path was long and arduous, and it wasn't something that could be accomplished in a short period of time. That's true. By the way, after awakening the destiny astral soul, one can roam the heavens. Even on the Heaven Awaken planet, one can observe everything in the Heaven Awaken planet. The Black King continued. The destiny astral soul is this powerful? Jiang Chen's eyes narrowed. If he could awaken the destiny astral soul, wouldn't he be able to observe the entire Heaven Awaken planet? Wouldn't his chances of finding Feng Air be greater? Jiang Chen's breathing became heavy, and his heart was blazing with a blazing fire. He didn't know if it was possible for him to break through to the next level. However, Jiang Chen also knew that it was impossible for even Star Realm experts to break through, let alone him who was only at the 8th heavenly layer of the Star Emperor realm. It sounded like a fantasy, but there was no future without hope. Jiang Chen's heart was filled with hope. Only with a direction to work towards could he look forward to the future. That's right. The destiny astral soul can be used in battle, and its benefits are unimaginable. Only by breaking through and awakening the destiny astral soul will one know how beneficial it is. The Black King's words constantly stimulated Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen's fighting spirit soared, and he excitedly rushed deeper. I will definitely awaken the destiny astral soul. Jiang Chen swore solemnly. After walking for a long time, Jiang Chen finally found a crumpled stone. It didn't look like a stone, but the Genesis Chi energy it exuded convinced Jiang Chen. Although it was only the size of a palm, its existence gave Jiang Chen great encouragement. This is the Destiny Stone. Jiang Chen believed it without a doubt. There is an indescribable energy in the Destiny Stone that seems to calm one's mind and brighten one's eyes. It's not Genesis Chi, but it has the same effect. It seems to be able to fuse with Genesis Chi. Jiang Chen held the palm-sized Destiny Stone in his hand and took a deep breath. The Destiny Stone wasn't a precious treasure, but it could make one's mind and soul clear. It was definitely a good thing. Let's put it away first. Just as Jiang Chen was about to put away the Destiny Stone, a slender shadow suddenly soared through the sky like a sharp arrow. It streaked past Jiang Chen's ear with a swoosh, as fast as lightning. What the hell? Jiang Chen furrowed his brows. When he turned around, the black shadow was already closing in on him again. Jiang Chen immediately raised his saber and punched out with a serious expression, hitting the black shadow squarely. Bang! After a loud bang, the black shadow was forced back by Jiang Chen, and it finally landed on the ground. Only now did Jiang Chen get a good look at it. It was actually a leopard cat. It was more than 2 feet tall, and it had a long beard. It looked like a leopard, and its black eyes were glowing with a cold light as it stared at Jiang Chen. "Put it down." The leopard cat spat out the human language and said fiercely, "You're just a leopard cat. You want the destiny stone? Let's see if you have the ability." Jiang Chen said calmly. With a flip of his hand, he put away the destiny stone. The leopard cat bared its fangs and its eyes were like torches. With a low growl, it charged at Jiang Chen again. "You're courting death." Jiang Chen snorted coldly and punched out with the power to pick up a mountain. The leopard cat's body spun rapidly, dodging the attack and playing with speed with Jiang Chen. However, this leopard cat was not easy to deal with. Its strength was at the 9th heaven of the Star Emperor realm. No wonder it dared to challenge Jiang Chen. The two exchanged several moves, but Jiang Chen still couldn't catch the leopard cat. He was also quite depressed. It seemed that he had to give it something fierce. Jiang Chen directly used the Heaven Ascension Ladder and instantly suppressed the leopard cat. It had no way to resist. 3 punches hit its target, blocking its path of retreat. It rolled away in a sorry state. "Meow! Awoo!" The leopard cat hissed. Its ribs had been broken by Jiang Chen. It subconsciously retreated, its eyes filled with hatred and anger. "Die!" Jiang Chen took a step forward and punched again. However, this time, the leopard cat took advantage of the momentum to escape. Knowing that it was no match for Jiang Chen, it directly fled into the bamboo forest and disappeared from Jiang Chen's sight. "That's it." Jiang Chen smiled but didn't give chase. After all, this was someone else's territory. The 100 Ghosts bamboo forest was very secretive. He was really afraid of being tricked by this leopard cat. It was better to be safe than sorry. Anyway, the destiny stone was already in his hands. This was not a place to stay for long. Jiang Chen hurriedly left the place and continued his search for the destiny stone. This demonic beast wasn't strong, but he didn't rule out the possibility that it would attract more powerful demonic beasts. Therefore, he had to be extra careful. In less than 10 days, Jiang Chen had already found 4 pieces of destiny stones, but the biggest one was only half a foot wide. He wondered if the others would find more than him. Jiang Chen didn't pay attention to the outside world. He only focused on finding the destiny stone. However, danger was approaching step by step. Jiang Chen seemed to feel that these 2 days, there was always someone watching him. He had no choice but to be more careful. Rustle, 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 rustle. Chapter 48:17. You're hiding in plain sight. Show yourself. Jiang Chen roared in a low voice. In front of him, 7 black shadows broke through the air and leaped up, heading straight for Jiang Chen's face. Their momentum was surging, and they were like 7 sharp swords. Jiang Chen was facing a formidable enemy. "You're finally here." Jiang Chen's fists were sharp, and the shadows of his fists came one after another. In an instant, he displayed the dragon transformation and faced the enemy head-on. The 7 shadows converged directly. Jiang Chen didn't dare to take them lightly. After being forced back by 1 blow, the 7 shadows advanced instead of retreating. Behind Jiang Chen, more than 10 shadows of light followed one after another. They were filled with a cold and murderous aura, firmly locking onto Jiang Chen. "Is it that Tanuki?" Jiang Chen's heart skipped a beat. Nearly 20 Tanuki, all of whom were at the 9th heaven of the Star Emperor realm. This force could be said to be quite powerful. Even he didn't dare to take them lightly. It seemed like this civet cat wasn't as simple as he had imagined. It actually knew how to gather its friends and make a comeback. Moreover, it came prepared. More than 20 civet cats of the 9th heavens of Star Emperor realm brought great pressure to Jiang Chen. Plus, their speed was very fast, almost blocking all of his escape routes. This civet cat knew what he was capable of. That's why it was able to create such a huge force. "This time you can't escape." The Tanuki slowly walked toward Jiang Chen, walking briskly. The corners of its mouth were slightly raised. Jiang Chen was sure that it was a smile, a strange and feminine smile. "Is it really good to sacrifice so many of your Tanuki's lives for a piece of destiny stone?" Jiang Chen said lightly. "You're still so stubborn when you're about to die? Killing you is as easy as taking something out of my pocket." Die. The Tanuki stood with its head held high, turning into a foxy figure. Its red sleeves danced in the wind, and its charming eyes were like waves, but there was a hidden murderous intent. At the same time, The other 21 black raccoons also transformed into enchanting beauties. Their eyes were bright and colorful, and it was as if they had stepped into a sea of flowers. Their hands were seductive, and their legs were as white as jade. Their smiling faces were as sharp as blades. The red-sleeved civet cat, who was in the lead, let out a low roar, and everyone rushed forward. That scene would definitely make one's blood boil, but at this moment, it was full of danger. Jiang Chen didn't have the time to appreciate the scenery, because if he made the slightest mistake, he might be consigned to eternal damnation. These raccoons were definitely hiding needles in silk floss. The land of tenderness was the grave of a hero. Jiang Chen lifted his sword and stood up. His heavenly dragon's sword roared out of its sheath. It moved as fast as lightning, looking majestic. The surrounding raccoons flickered, and it was impossible to catch them. Jiang Chen could only use his sword to slash through the air and break this cage of desire. Inescapable net. Demonic fox phantom. The overlapping shadows made it impossible for Jiang Chen to tell where these raccoons were. Their repeated attacks brought him quite a bit of pressure. Jiang Chen retreated in order to advance. He was trapped in the inescapable net. Rays of rainbow light swept past him. All Jiang Chen could see was the colorful long sleeves dancing in the air. Each and every one of them was deadly. Jiang Chen seemed to be wrapped in the silk coiling cave. There was no way to breathe in all directions, and he was completely sealed in it. The jade-like hands moved again and again, and the palm wind was like lightning, tearing the air. Jiang Chen's clothes were also torn to pieces. After all, he was facing more than 20 star emperors in the 9th heaven, and he was in their territory. Jiang Chen had to avoid the sharp edge. The heavenly dragon sword was deafening like thunder, rising and falling, and the sword momentum was like a rainbow. However, these raccoons were also very tenacious. They fought back and forth with Jiang Chen. Relying on the advantage of numbers and the advantage of the terrain, these raccoons almost did not give Jiang Chen any chance to fight back. However, Jiang Chen's limitless sword was not a joke. It rode the wind and raised the sword, roaming the sky. 28 swords. Invisible and shadowless, it pushed forward heavily, relying on the sword momentum, and the storm rose one after another. The limitless sword was all-pervasive. Finally, it tore through all the rainbow-colored chains. Jiang Chen was finally able to see the light. Meow! These raccoons rushed forward wave after wave, disregarding everything, and even wanted to fight to the death with Jiang Chen. They did not care about their own bodies at all. It was not a pity if they died, but they absolutely had no intention of retreating. Killing Jiang Chen was like a mission in their hearts. Jiang Chen's sword slashed their throats, but the oppressive power of these raccoons was giving Jiang Chen a headache. After killing one person, he needed to use his shoulder to block the remaining raccoons. Jiang Chen consumed a lot of Genesis Chi. However, the terror of the limitless sword gradually made these raccoons lose their fighting strength. 28 swords was even more successful, allowing Jiang Chen to kill in and out without any flaws. A lot of Genesis Chi was consumed. Jiang Chen killed more than 10 people in a row. 28 swords gave these raccoons a fatal blow. Jiang Chen did not have any protective feelings for the fairer sex. He killed one by one, and did not leave any room for them to level up. If he had vowed to chase and kill them all, today's incident would not have happened. Jiang Chen's face was dripping with sweat. These guys were very cunning. Using the stairway to heaven consecutively consumed a lot of energy, because this was the only way to catch up with them. But this time, Jiang Chen must do it flawlessly. Not a single one could escape. The heavenly dragon sword broke through the wind and waves, and Jiang Chen began to kill crazily as if there was no one around. It had to be said that these raccoons were very cunning and very strong, causing a lot of trouble for Jiang Chen. However, Jiang Chen did not slack off at all. He could not make any mistakes. He must kill them in one blow. Only then could he complete the counterattack. He wanted the Destiny's Stone, and these raccoons also wanted the Destiny's Stone. They had become his most direct opponents. It would have been fine if you had just left, but since you dared to come back, then die. Jiang Chen dashed left and right. Sword shadows cut through the air like bright lights in the dark night. One raccoon after another fell. Jiang Chen wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He became more and more bloodthirsty. He killed without mercy. Only by killing everything could he be safe and sound. None of you can escape. Jiang Chen's murderous aura sword. Being kind to the enemy was being cruel to oneself. He had long understood that he had to kill quickly. He was not a saint. To live, he must think for himself. If I don't go to hell, who will? Jiang Chen sneered. Sweat continuously flowed from his face, and his Genesis Chi consumption had reached 99%. When he killed the last raccoon, he was also drenched in sweat. He sat down next to the bamboo, panting heavily. His hands rested on his sword as he breathed heavily. A dozen destiny stones dropped from the dead raccoons. The corners of Jiang Chen's mouth curved slightly. It seems that these guys had not been killed in vain. How could he not take a deal that was delivered to his doorstep? Chapter 48:18. Tisk. TSK. TSK. Don't you know how to be gentle? There were more than 20 of them. How could you just kill them like that? Don't you feel sorry for them at all? Ha! A man in a green robe with a spear on his back stood in front of the dead civet cats. He kept shaking his head and looking at Jiang Chen with a sharp smile. His green robe fluttered without any wind. His long hair was messy, but he was exceptionally sharp. The spear on his back was emitting a black light. His spear glinted coldly, and his eyes were like those of a ferocious wolf. Beside him, 7 people slowly walked over from all directions around Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen had more or less seen these people before. They were all participants of the freshman assessment. What do you want? Jiang Chen said indifferently. There are so many destiny stones scattered on the ground. What do you think I want? Do you want me to pick them up for you, or do you want to pick them up for me? Xueqi said with a smile. I killed them, so the things are naturally mine. Do you want to kill me and rob me? Jiang Chen chuckled. Xueqi waved his hand calmly. I didn't want to kill you at first. Even these destiny stones aren't enough for me to kill you, but you're too arrogant. I can't stand people who are more pretentious than me. You're one of them. So, I can only kill you. But it seems that I don't need to do anything. You're still too young. Xueqi's smile was like a spring breeze after a rain. It was carefree, natural, and incomparably gratifying. The 7 people around him slowly walked towards Jiang Chen. You're so hesitant to kill me. Why are you still looking for a reason? Jiang Chen snorted. You're arrogant, but unfortunately, your life has come to an end. Xueqi said. That might not be the case. Jiang Chen looked at Xueqi and said with a ghostly smile. Do it. Since you want to die so much, I'll fulfill your wish. Trust me, you'll die a comfortable death. Xueqi's smile gradually turned ferocious. Ha 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 ha. 7 figures arrived one after another, overflowing with murderous intent as they closed in on Jiang Chen. These 7 people were all top-notch experts, peak star emperors, super geniuses who could fight 1 against 10. Being able to break through numerous tests and meet the requirements of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, their strength was already infinitely close to that of a Horseman of the Apocalypse. It's too early for you all to be happy. If you want to kill me, I'm afraid you'll have to reconsider. Jiang Chen's strength instantly soared after consuming a little rejuvenation pill. His Genesis Chi surged as the power in his body reached its peak. You still have the small rejuvenation pill? Xueqi's pupils constricted, and his expression turned even colder. What a waste of God's gifts. Someone who's about to die wants to use a minor rejuvenation pill to prolong his life? Dream on. With Xueqi's roar, the 7 of them finally charged forth. Jiang Chen no longer remained silent and raised his sword. These fellows were all peerless experts, and they couldn't be compared to the civet cats from before. This battle was destined to be even more difficult. The tallest tree in the forest was the first to be destroyed by the wind. They had long disliked Jiang Chen. Moreover, they had been searching for the Destiny Stone for a long time. How could they let it go? Killing Jiang Chen would make them famous, seize the Destiny Stone, and advance to the next level. This was killing 2 birds with 1 stone. You're not strong enough, but you're so arrogant. Today, we will send you to heaven. That's right. I really don't know where you get the confidence to kill him. We will surely become famous. A mere 8th layer Star Emperor wants us to join forces against him? You're giving him too much face. Kill. Xueqi stared fixedly at Jiang Chen. How could a mere 8th layer Star Emperor be so arrogant? The 7 masters came one after another. Jiang Chen held his broadsword in front of him and drew his sword to look around. Clanging sounds lingered. Jiang Chen's strength had reached the peak of the Star Emperor realm under the dragon transformation. He didn't fear these people at all. However, he had to be on guard at all times. That Xueqi might be waiting for an opportunity to attack. None of the 7 great warriors were weaklings. Their figures moved together, moving as fast as lightning. Both sides were fighting back and forth. The atmosphere was extremely tense. Even Xueqi, who was standing at the side, was frowning as he prepared himself. It looked like this Zhang Chen wasn't easy to deal with. What are you waiting for? Why are you holding back? Xueqi's shout caused the 7 great experts to become alert. They didn't dare be careless as they unleashed all of their strength. Sword energy, blade energy, and layers of afterimages were all making it more and more difficult for Zhang Chen to deal with them. 28 swords. Zhang Chen fought against 7 people alone, but he didn't seem to be at a disadvantage at all. These guys' attacks were all pervasive. Eternal celestial wind. Zhang Chen retreated in order to advance. The sound of the wind was like a saber. As the wind blew, he descended from the sky. His sword momentum was overbearing and powerful. Get out of here. A shocking sword radiance pierced into the enemy's formation. 2 people were thrown away, looking quite embarrassed. Zhang Chen sneered and slashed at the sky again. The limitless sword was invincible. Taking advantage of his victory, the 7 masters all held their breath and fought with all their strength. Who dared to be careless when it was a matter of life and death? Zhang Chen's strength was getting stronger and stronger. The dragon transformation had pushed his strength to the peak. Zhang Chen wasn't weak at all when fighting at the same level. He's too powerful. We can't resist his sword momentum at all. Damn it. It's so weird. A Star Emperor Realm 8 can be so strong. No, I can't stand it anymore. We have to stand it even if we can't. Everyone clenched their teeth. Zhang Chen started to exert his strength. They didn't know what to do anymore. Facing the double suppression of the limitless sword and the eternal celestial wind, Zhang Chen was already unstoppable. The 7 masters kept retreating. Zhang Chen seemed to be invincible. He started to crush them while they were down. The 7 of them fled. They couldn't fight against Zhang Chen at all. The more he fought, the braver he became. It was as if he was on steroids. So, the 7 of them turned pale and were injured one after another. Star Emperors at the peak couldn't even withstand one blow from Zhang Chen. Xueqi was so angry that he felt more and more depressed. How dare you? Xueqi was finally enraged. It looked like he couldn't just sit back and watch the battle. Zhang Chen was fighting 7 enemies by himself, and he was the one who forced his men to retreat. If he didn't act now, the lives of these 7 men would be in danger. A half-step star-level master was finally here. Zhang Chen knew that Xueqi was going to attack him sooner or later, so he was mentally prepared. Xueqi threw out a sky-blasting strike with his bare fists, causing the sky to darken and the earth to darken. The punch landed on Zhang Chen's heavenly dragon sword, causing it to shake violently. Xueqi was forced back a dozen steps before he could regain his balance. You're strong, but today, I'll tear you into pieces. Chapter 48:19. You finally can't help but attack? Fine, I, Zhang Chen, will accompany you to the end. You do what you want, and I will do what I want. Today, I will not rest until one of us is dead. Zhang Chen's eyes were cold as he tightly grasped the heavenly dragon sword. If he didn't kill a few people, they would really think that he was a pushover. Arrogant boy, die. Xueqi took the lead and attacked first. His movements were like a thunderbolt, and a series of punches broke through the air. He wanted to end the battle quickly. His imposing manner was ferocious, and his killing intent was like a rainbow. Ancient Soaring Dragon Technique. Zhang Chen once again activated the Ancient Soaring Dragon Technique, and his strength rose again. He had already reached the half-step star level, and was not the slightest bit weaker than Xueqi. Xueqi led the 7 of them in the battle, taking the lead and unleashing killing blows. However, they still couldn't take down Zhang Chen. Although Zhang Chen couldn't hide anymore, the strength of a half-step star realm was not something to be trifled with. No wonder you dare to be so arrogant. It turns out that you have nothing to fear. But it's your bad luck to meet me today. Xueqi sneered. Although he was shocked, he didn't panic. The reason why Zhang Chen was so arrogant was because he had a secret technique that could increase his combat strength. Even Xueqi was shocked by this. If he could take down Zhang Chen and obtain this secret technique, his combat strength would definitely rise to another level. The treasured sword in Jiang Chen's hand was extremely terrifying, and his entire body was filled with treasures. How could Xueqi not be tempted? He was blinded by greed. Jiang Chen's benefits and the desire to become famous made him extremely tempted. Therefore, he had to suppress Jiang Chen here. The Destiny Stone was only secondary. The treasures on Jiang Chen's body were even more tempting. With the support of the ancient soaring dragon technique, Jiang Chen and Xueqi's 8 people fought fiercely. They wanted to exhaust the Genesis Qi in Jiang Chen's body first. 1 against 8 was ultimately impossible to survive. Xueqi had already calculated that Jiang Chen would not be allowed to make a comeback. After exchanging 100 moves in a quarter of an hour, Jiang Chen's battle power was still extraordinary. On the contrary, they began to show signs of defeat. How could Jiang Chen's battle power be so strong? Seeing Jiang Chen shoving another minor rejuvenation pill into his mouth, Xueqi and the others couldn't help but swallow their saliva. What kind of family was this? Why did they have to eat minor rejuvenation pills one after another? I'm about to die because of you. Xueqi and the others finally realized how terrifying Jiang Chen was. They were all curious to see if he had more treasures. It seems that I have to teach you a lesson. Xueqi grabbed the spear on his back with a single hand. It flickered with silver light and was extraordinarily domineering. Blood Moon Divine Spear. Lonely shadow filled the sky. Xueqi's spear technique changed and his aura suddenly soared. With his divine weapon in hand, he turned the tide. As Xueqi charged forward, the sky and earth spun. His shadow was like a blood moon, covering the sun and sky. To be able to die under Boss Blood Moon Divine Spear, this brat should be proud, Gagaga. In the end, Brother Xueqi still made a move. If we continue to fight, we still won't have the confidence to defeat him. Only Brother Xueqi has the confidence to win. Charge. Hold the line for boss. We can't let this guy have any chance to counterattack. The 7 of them swarmed forward once more. Even though they were already heavily injured and had used up most of their strength, if they could not kill Jiang Chen, they would not be able to resolve the crisis. With Xueqi before them, they were even more fearless. In this battle, they could already see the dawn of victory. The Blood Moon Divine Spear. The spear was like a blood moon. The tip of the spear rose again and again. The Sky Dragon's sword swung and closed, and the confrontation between the two escalated again. The 7 experts risked their lives to protect Xueqi, opening up the overall situation for Xueqi, forcing Jiang Chen to retreat step by step. The spear's shadow was invincible, and the battle intent was surging. Facing the Blood Moon Divine Spear, Jiang Chen displayed all his skills. The Limitless Sword was not weaker than his opponent, and the Sky Dragon Sword was even more unyielding. With the divine weapon in hand, Jiang Chen was fearless. The consecutive battles had benefited Jiang Chen a lot, and his strength continued to rise. Although Jiang Chen was not a match for Xueqi, he did not retreat. He became one with the sword, and the sword chi was shocking. Facing the huge pressure from Xueqi, Jiang Chen moved forward and struggled. He wanted to find a breakthrough in the face of adversity. Master, I'll help you. The Black King's voice appeared in Jiang Chen's mind. No need. I'll do it myself. Jiang Chen's eyes almost popped out of their sockets, and he gritted his teeth. The 8 people's attacks did not weaken at all, but Jiang Chen found it difficult to move forward. Die. If you knew this would happen, you wouldn't have done it in the first place. Ha ha ha. Blood Light Poisonous Dragon Spear. Xueqi roared, and the blood moon filled the air. Like the drill of a poisonous dragon, it turned into a 100-meter-long dragon. Wherever the spear passed, not even a blade of grass grew. This time, Jiang Chen will definitely die. Ha ha ha, Brother Xueqi is mighty and domineering. Everyone was nervous and overjoyed. This spear made them suck in a breath of cold air. If they were in Xueqi's position, they would have been torn apart by 5 horses. The strength of a half-step star-level expert was evident. Jiang Chen took a deep breath, and his face stiffened. After such a long time, he could finally test the power of his 9 tribulations imprisoning heavenly finger. 1 finger ends, 9 fingers break yin and yang. 1 finger of the sun. Destroy for me. Jiang Chen's mind was as one, and the moment the finger was out, the sky and earth changed color. The seemingly ordinary finger instantly bloomed at this moment, like the collision of planets, and the light touch of the finger could cause mountains to collapse and the earth to crack. Everyone's pupils constricted, and their faces were filled with shock. Even Xueqi was prepared to retreat, but it was already too late. The finger grew larger and larger in the eyes of Xueqi and the others, and everyone felt as if they had fallen into an ice cave. Xueqi's sky full of spear shadows and the blood moon poisonous dragon also turned into ashes in an instant. Under that finger, they were as fragile as a thin piece of paper. One finger ends, and the sky turned into nothingness. Xueqi's body was completely penetrated by the finger. His bones were crushed, and he turned into a mist of blood. As for the 7 experts behind him, none of them were spared. The aftermath of the 9 tribulations imprisoning Heavenly Finger turned them into ashes, and they all disappeared without a trace. Strong. Too strong. Jiang Chen collapsed on one knee. His face was pale, but a gratified smile was revealed from the corners of his mouth. Even he himself had not expected the 9 tribulations imprisoning Heavenly Finger to be so terrifying. He had never used his full power when using the one finger of the sun in the past, but this time, the 9 tribulations imprisoning Heavenly Finger had completely sucked away all the Genesis Qi in Jiang Chen's body. A single finger had caused the world to spin, and even a half-step star-level expert had been killed. This battle was truly astonishing. The 9 tribulations imprisoning Heavenly Finger lives up to its reputation, as expected of a great emperor cultivation technique. Chapter 48-20. Jiang Chen tidied things up. He found 22 destiny stones on the bodies of the raccoons and Xueqi's group. He was very pleased. Including his own, 26 destiny stones should be quite a lot, right? After resting for 2 days, Jiang Chen's strength increased again. However, he was still a step away from the 9th heaven of the Star Emperor realm. Jiang Chen knew that the foundation was the most important, so he wasn't in a hurry to break through. There shouldn't be any problems when the conditions are right. The more destiny stones he found, the happier Jiang Chen became. When he gathered enough destiny stones, he would try to see if he could touch the so-called destiny astral soul that the Black King had mentioned. Jiang Chen moved forward cautiously. After all, after the incident with Xueqi, he understood the situation he was in. Some people wanted to step on him and rise to the top. Moreover, the competition for the destiny stone had reached a climax. During this period, Jiang Chen saw 2 groups of people fighting. For a few destiny stones, there were many casualties. In the battles between more than 10 people, only half of them survived. He didn't participate. After all, the experts here weren't weak at all. He wasn't confident that he could kill them all. The 3 of them were weaker than Xueqi's day. It was better to avoid trouble. Jiang Chen wanted to make a fortune quietly. It was better to find his own way. After another 2 days, Jiang Chen found traces of a fight in an uninhabited hill. There was also a lot of blood around. Most importantly, there were actually 13 destiny stones scattered here. No one picked them up. This was strange. This was strange. There were traces of battle here, but why didn't anyone want these destiny stones? This was too unusual. There must be a reason for this abnormality. Looks like I have to go take a look. Jiang Chen murmured. Curiosity killed the cat. This was an unchanging truth. Moreover, it was very likely that he would find more destiny stones here. Jiang Chen convinced himself and walked deeper into the hill. Blood was dripping all over the place, and there were even drops of blood dripping down from the bamboo leaves. Jiang Chen knew that the battle that happened here must have happened just now. Underneath the hill, it was a well-hidden place. The dense forest and mountain range combined together, making it impossible for anyone to see the depths of the place. Jiang Chen could vaguely hear a deafening roar coming from the depths of the hill. Such a strong floral fragrance. Jiang Chen took a deep breath. The refreshing fragrance of the flowers made him feel relaxed and happy. He immediately became excited. Wasn't this fragrance too exciting? Even Jiang Chen couldn't estimate the power contained in this. It seemed that this was definitely a fierce dispute over benefits. Just based on the fragrance of the flowers, I want to see what kind of treasure it is, Jiang Chen said with a smile while murmuring to himself. These natural treasures were very attractive to Jiang Chen. Therefore he had to find out what they were. Jiang Chen quickened his pace and entered the depths of the hill. At this time, the surrounding vegetation had decreased rapidly. Even in the depths, it was dark, with only some fluorescent light shining. It was definitely a deserted place. Chi, a burst of flames appeared. Jiang Chen's eyes narrowed, and his mind moved. Because he saw a person. A familiar person. In the depths, there was a flower with red, blue, and purple petals. It made Jiang Chen feel like he was bathing in the spring breeze. That was definitely a treasure that made his heart beat faster. This fierce battle must have started because of it. Luo Ying. The woman who was determined to leave. Her purpose was probably also here. The tri-colored stamen was irresistible. Compared to the charm of a virgin and the elegance of the clouds, it was even more carefree. At this moment, Luo Ying was forced to retreat. In front of her were 2 scorpions, but they were 3 meters long. Their slender stingers flickered with a black light as they constantly charged forward, making Luo Ying miserable. The strength of these 2 scorpions was definitely half a step into the star level, and they were not any weaker than Luo Ying. Fighting 1 against 2, it was obvious that she was at a complete disadvantage. Although the 2 scorpions were also riddled with sword scars, she was also seriously injured and vomited blood. Clanging sounds rang out incessantly as the scorpions constantly slashed at the 2 scorpions. The scorpions' defense was extremely astonishing. The most terrifying thing was that they could both attack and defend without any disorder. The stingers were simply their unique, peerless divine weapons. It seems that she's about to die. Jiang Chen frowned. Regardless of the reason why Luo Ying left, they had both experienced a life-and-death battle. At this time, Jiang Chen would definitely not leave her in the lurch. Although the 2 scorpions were powerful, they were already injured. Jiang Chen could not just watch as Luo Ying's decline worsened. The injuries on her body were endless. The blood he saw just now should have been left by her. Get out of my way! Luo Ying clenched her teeth and fought desperately, but it was difficult for her to do so alone. Her wrists were covered in blood. 22nd blade. 23rd blade. 24th blade. Jiang Chen brandished his sword. The sword chi was frightening as it approached the 2 giant scorpions. The crisscrossing sword shadows gave Luo Ying a lot of opportunities to catch her breath. Luo Ying's eyes lit up. The appearance of Jiang Chen made her feel relieved. It seemed that the heavens did not want her to die. Both of their gazes met. 10,000 years passed in a single glance. There was no need for words. Jiang Chen launched a pincer attack from behind, blocking the giant scorpion's path. His limitless sword rose once again, slashing out layer after layer. 27th blade. 28th blade. The momentum of relying on the sword could destroy the 9 heavens. In the deep hill, Jiang Chen had the absolute advantage. The sword momentum from all directions caused the 2 giant scorpions to complain incessantly. However, the 2 big fellows were not that easy to deal with. Luo Ying and Jiang Chen joined forces, but they could only temporarily stabilize the situation. The stingers smashed towards Jiang Chen one after another. They would die if they touched them, and they would be injured if they touched them. Moreover, they were extremely poisonous. This thing was far more terrifying than some poisonous elixirs. Be careful of the poison on their stingers, Luo Ying said in a deep voice, hastily reminding Jiang Chen. If the venom hadn't invaded her body, she wouldn't have ended up in such a miserable state. Otherwise, she could at least fight them for a while. After being poisoned, her strength had been greatly restricted. It was impossible for her to be at her peak state like before. Jiang Chen nodded and did not retreat. The heavenly dragon sword was invincible, and the 2 giant scorpions were shocked until they were numb. Coupled with Luo Ying's desperate fight, the 2 gradually began to take the initiative. The 2 giant scorpions were very annoyed by Jiang Chen because their indestructible and pervasive stingers had no advantage in front of the heavenly dragon sword. Buzz! A low sound was heard, shocking everyone. Luo Ying's pupils contracted, and her expression changed. No! Chapter 48-21. The scorpion tail needle was their only means of attack. Once they used it, it meant that they had exhausted their limited abilities. However, when the scorpion tail needle exploded, almost no one could stop it. The 2 scorpion tail needles pierced through Jiang Chen's body at a terrifying speed and finally passed through Luo Ying's shoulder. Blood spurted out as her arm began to fester. What a terrifying poison! Luo Ying quickly swallowed an antidote pill, but it was like trying to put out a burning cart of firewood with a cup of water. Although the poison had stopped festering, she would still die within a day. However, Jiang Chen was fearless. Although his body was pierced by the scorpion tail needles, his sword still slashed down at the last moment, forcibly cutting off the heads of the 2 giant scorpions. However, he also fell to the ground, his long sword as a pillar, and his face was extremely pale. Jiang Chen! Jiang Chen! Luo Ying struggled, her whole body trembling. It was all her fault for harming Jiang Chen. How are you? Hurry! Quickly eat this detoxifying pill, otherwise you'll die very quickly. Luo Ying said in a panic. Jiang Chen looked at Luo Ying and shook his head with a bitter smile. No need. Why are you so stubborn? Hurry up and eat it. Who knows, we might have a chance to live. You can't just give up on yourself. Luo Ying shouted. At this time, Jiang Chen had already given up on her. Her heart was filled with sorrow. All of this had happened because of her. Although Luo Ying knew that Jiang Chen's injuries were far more serious than hers, as long as there was a chance, she would not give up. Luo Ying grabbed Jiang Chen and directly fed the antidote pill to Jiang Chen. Her eyes were full of panic and her heart was burning with anxiety. You must hold on. You must. Luo Ying grabbed Jiang Chen's hand tightly. There was a glint of tears in her eyes. Although she did not cry, she was extremely struggling. Jiang Chen was her only friend, a friend that she could entrust her life to. If Jiang Chen died to save her, Luo Ying would definitely blame herself. Back then, she had been alone because she didn't want to implicate Jiang Chen. She knew that there would definitely be demonic beasts guarding the three-life flower. If there was any danger, she would be able to deal with it easily. She didn't want to implicate others. However, Jiang Chen's appearance had brought her hope, but it had also caused her mood to fall to the bottom of the valley, even to the point of despair. In order to save her, Jiang Chen still fell in the end. Puffed, spurting out a mouthful of blood, Jiang Chen fell to the ground, his face deathly pale. Jiang Chen, you have to hold on. Hang in there. Once again, Luo Ying took out several precious pills. Even Jiang Chen had never heard of them before. However, Jiang Chen pushed Luo Ying's hand away and shook his head continuously. Don't waste your pills on me. Jiang Chen smiled bitterly. I won't allow you to say such things. Luo Ying gritted her teeth and said firmly. Jiang Chen was willing to sacrifice his life for her, so what were her pills worth? As long as I'm here, I won't allow you to fall. Luo Ying directly carried Jiang Chen on her back and stepped on the three-life flower, her face full of stubbornness. Big sister, I really don't need pills. I'm immune to poison. Jiang Chen's words made Luo Ying dumbfounded. She looked back at him. Apart from his body being a little weak and injured, his wounds had even healed. This kind of self-healing speed and ability was terrifying. It didn't seem like he had been poisoned at all. Are you really okay? Luo Ying asked doubtfully. This guy was more than just a freak. Even a half-step stellar-level poisonous scorpion couldn't make him fall? Oh my god! Luo Ying's heart was filled with indescribable shock and excitement. Now that Jiang Chen was fine, her hanging heart was completely at ease. Do I look like I'm not okay? Jiang Chen spread his hands with a smile on his face. Your injuries are very serious, but it's not enough to kill you. Before Jiang Chen finished speaking, Luo Ying had already fallen into his arms. You're fine, but I seem to be. Luo Ying was dumbfounded. Jiang Chen's life wasn't in danger, but she could no longer hold on and fell into Jiang Chen's arms. Jiang Chen was also stunned. Although his body was immune to hundreds of poisons, Luo Ying couldn't endure it any longer. Even if she had taken an antidote pill and her strength had reached the half-step star realm, she still couldn't withstand the venom of the scorpion tail needle. I might not be able to hold on. Jiang Chen, this three-life flower. Luo Ying held the three-life flower tightly and refused to let go. Her eyes were full of affection. Don't say anything. This bit of poison can't stump me. Jiang Chen said confidently, even somewhat disapproving. Do you really have a way? Luo Ying couldn't believe it. This fellow had once again impressed her. Compared to the genius disciples of the Tianqi planet, Jiang Chen wasn't inferior. He might even surpass them. Jiang Chen's strength and methods were very terrifying. Even though Luo Ying had been with him for so long, she still couldn't figure out Jiang Chen's strength. I do have a way, but it might be a little troublesome. Jiang Chen smiled awkwardly. What do you mean? Luo Ying was very weak, but she was very surprised. As long as she could be cured, it didn't matter how troublesome it was. I need to use my 5 elemental divine fire to push the poison out of your body, and it can only be done by cutting your skin. You're already deeply poisoned, so this is the only method I can use. Jiang Chen said helplessly. Luo Ying's face stiffened, and she nodded heavily. She knew that at this time, she couldn't care less about the improper relationship between men and women. As long as she could survive, it was fine. Luo Ying was in a very difficult position, but what could she do? She still firmly believed in Jiang Chen's words. If Jiang Chen really wanted to do something to her, he would have already taken action. He wouldn't have waited until now. It must be necessary to expel the poison. Okay, Luo Ying said solemnly. Her face was slightly red. If she wanted to leave this place alive and prove herself, she had to accept Jiang Chen's treatment. If that's the case, then I'll have to offend you, Jiang Chen said. Luo Ying directly tore her clothes to shreds. Her face was pale, but she was still in Jiang Chen's arms. Jiang Chen took a deep breath, held his breath, and focused wholeheartedly on treating Luo Ying's poison. Although the 7 emotions and 6 desires made him upset, Jiang Chen was no longer a virgin. How could he act recklessly? Using fire to treat the poison might be very painful. Bear with it, Jiang Chen said in a low voice. Jiang Chen was completely focused. On his palm, the flames were blazing, roasting Luo Ying's body, pushing every inch of her skin, roasting the poison in her body. Step by step, little by little. After a full hour, Jiang Chen exerted all his effort to expel all the poison in Luo Ying's body. Although the poison in Luo Ying's body had basically been removed by Jiang Chen, her body was still very weak. Chapter 48:22. Thank you, Luo Ying said in a low voice. At this moment, the relationship between the two seemed to have improved. It's okay. Phew. Jiang Chen let out a long sigh of relief. He was already seriously injured, and now he had to heal Luo Ying. The two of them were now brothers in the same boat. Both of them were seriously injured. I didn't expect that we could survive. However, the road ahead will probably be more difficult. Luo Ying sighed. At this time, they had to be extra careful to ensure their safety. Is that flower that important to you? You don't even want your life? Jiang Chen asked. Luo Ying nodded hesitantly. Her mind was wandering, and her thoughts were wandering. After a long while, she came back to her senses. There are some things I don't want to say. I'm sorry, Jiang Chen. However, I don't mean to harm you. The 3 lives flower is really important to me. It's more important than my life. Luo Ying looked solemn and apologetic to Jiang Chen. It's okay. As long as we get the 3 lives flower, it's fine. It's a rare treasure. Even I'm jealous of it. Jiang Chen didn't have the habit of getting to the bottom of things. Moreover, he knew Luo Ying's character very well. The two of them had been through many trials and tribulations, so they still had some trust in each other. Let's go quickly. Otherwise, something bad might happen. Luo Ying looked around cautiously. Someone's here. Suddenly, Jiang Chen sensed something in his mind. A few auras quickly approached him. If he wasn't mistaken, someone must have seen the bloodstain and the temptation of the 3 lives flower. That's why they came here. Let's go. Jiang Chen didn't have time to think. He pulled Luo Ying up. The two of them looked at each other and wanted to quickly escape. I finally found you. Where do you think you're going? Chase. 2 different voices appeared in Jiang Chen and Luo Ying's ears. They knew that they had been discovered. Now, they had to leave this place as soon as possible. Otherwise, the two of them were seriously injured and would definitely die. What I'm afraid of has come. Jiang Chen felt rather gloomy. It seemed like it was already too late for him and Luo Ying to escape at this moment, because they had obviously been targeted by someone. Jiang Chen hurriedly swallowed a small rejuvenation pill, but the injuries on his body were growing more and more serious. The small rejuvenation pill could only restore the Genesis Qi in his body, but his body had already been pierced by the giant scorpion, and he needed to recuperate to recover. Even with the Heaven Ascension stairs, Jiang Chen was still in a very passive position. A series of afterimages flickered. Jiang Chen's speed was extremely fast. However, since he was carrying Luo Ying, he still had to be extremely cautious. Moreover, his speed was also restricted. You want to escape from the hands of us brothers? Dream on. The man in the lead was as thin as a match and had a sinister face. He wore a golden silk cloak that fluttered in the wind. His neck was crooked, and his eyes were as sharp as knives. He chased closely behind Jiang Chen and Luo Ying. Big brother, I'll go scout first. A slender man smiled sinisterly as he chased closely. His speed had even caught up to Jiang Chen's heaven ascension stairs. This was because Jiang Chen was currently too weak, and he was also being held back by Luo Ying. The pressure on him was too great. Thief! Where are you running to? Put down the things in your hands first. Zhang Baijiang's eyes narrowed into a line as he followed closely behind Jiang Chen. He was the fastest among the brothers, and with the chasing stars and chasing moon step, no one had ever been able to escape from his grasp. Zhang Baijiang was confident that as long as the other party had not reached the star level, he would definitely be able to catch up. These two people were obviously weakened. Wasn't it wishful thinking to escape from his hands? Jiang Chen, don't worry about me. You can definitely escape by yourself, Luo Ying said. Life and death was a matter of life and death. With the enemy at their side, they could no longer escape. The other party had 4 people, and all of them were half a step into the star level. Even if they were at their peak, they might not be able to defeat them, let alone now. Luo Ying knew that she was a burden to Jiang Chen. If he wanted to leave, he could definitely do so, but if he brought her along, it would not be so simple. What nonsense are you talking about? Women are all so noisy. Jiang Chen frowned and glared at Luo Ying. I worked so hard to save you, and then I'll give you up? I'm sorry, I can't do it. Jiang Chen did not allow her to explain. It was impossible for him to abandon Luo Ying. A man could only stand between heaven and earth if he had faith. Without faith, he would not be able to stand. The two of them continued to run, heading deeper into the hills. At the back of the mountains, thousands of miles of green bamboo formed a sea of clouds, stretching as far as the eye could see. Luo Ying smiled bitterly in her heart. She was rather touched. Jiang Chen's actions made her feel more at ease. However, how could they escape the pursuit of these 4 half-step star-level experts? Were they going to die here? Would this place become their mausoleum? Luo Ying did not feel such despair when they were in the Guangzhou Great Rift Valley. However, things were different now, and they had no way out. Suddenly, the moment they raised their heads, they realized that there was no way out in front of them. At the bottom of the mountain ridge, there was a steep cliff. They could not fly in the air. This mountain was an insurmountable chasm for them. In front of them was a dead end, the gate of death. Ha ha ha! Run! Why don't you continue to run? Why aren't you running anymore? Little brat, you run pretty fast. If it weren't for the star-chasing moon steps, I wouldn't have been able to catch up to you. Zhang Baijiang sneered. He held his spear and pointed it at Jiang Chen and Luo Ying. With the sound of wind breaking, another 3 half-step star-level experts landed in front of Jiang Chen and the others. What do you want? This is the freshman assessment. If you want the Destiny Stone, just take it, Luo Ying said solemnly. At this time, it would be good if they could preserve their lives. So Luo Ying did not have any extravagant requests. If they only wanted the Destiny Stone, they might be able to escape this calamity. Only children make choices. Ha ha ha. Destiny Stone, women, and all the treasures on you. I want them all. Zhang Baisong, who was in the lead, said disdainfully. His thunderous laughter completely destroyed Luo Ying's last glimmer of hope. A bunch of bastards. Luo Ying clenched her teeth. These people were bandits who did all kinds of evil. Did such people deserve to be called horsemen of the apocalypse? However, no matter how unwilling she was, she could only look at the weak and sigh. It was useless. The weak were prey to the strong, and there was no justice or evil to speak of. Only the strong could live and write history. Good and evil were just the beginning. In front of the weak, they were like gods, but in front of the strong they were like ants. It's useless to say all this. I can feel the treasures on you. Hand them over, and I'll spare you some physical pain. Otherwise, I'll make you beg for death. Zhang Baisong looked down at Jiang Chen and Jiang Chen with a condescending manner, like a king who was giving orders to the world. Our boss has a heart of Buddha. Hurry up and hand over the treasures. Don't say that you don't have any. We've already sensed such precious treasures. Chapter 48-23. Jiang Chen, I know you. You're the most arrogant person in the freshman assessment. Zhang Baisong stared at Jiang Chen and stood with his hands behind his back. Why aren't you arrogant now? Weren't you very arrogant before? Teskeseske, the tiger has become a coward? Ha! That's right. I thought you were more capable. You're really disappointing. Big brother, I can beat 10 of this kind of trash. No matter what, he's the double champion of the first and second stage. You can't beat him up like this. Him. I'm going to step on his face today. Let's see how he stands up. Trash should have the awareness of trash. Compared to us, how can this guy be called human? The 4 Zhang brothers all had mocking expressions on their faces. Killing Jiang Chen would make them famous. Moreover, they would be able to obtain the mysterious treasure. Why wouldn't they do it? I didn't expect to meet you under such circumstances. I'm disappointed. I'm really disappointed. Sigh. Zhang Baisong sighed. There was only loneliness left in his eyes. In his eyes, Jiang Chen was already like a wild beast. He didn't have the slightest fighting strength. Jiang Chen. Luo Ying's lips trembled slightly. It was all her fault for harming Jiang Chen. Otherwise, he wouldn't have appeared here and wouldn't have been bullied by these guys. Moreover, they had no way out. Whether you're a mule or a horse, you have to lead it out for a walk. Who doesn't know how to talk tough? You want to kill me? Ha ha ha, let's see if you have the ability to do so. Jiang Chen, who had been silent for a long time, finally revealed a cold smile and said calmly, Hey, big brother, he actually wants to fight with us? Interesting, this is really interesting. Ha! Zhang Baisong said with a bright smile. Let me fight with you. If the double champion is defeated by my hands, I'm afraid it'll be too funny. Zhang Bail rubbed his palms together and was eager to give it a try. Jiang Chen was already an arrow at the end of its flight. If he still couldn't deal with him at this time, how would the Zhang brothers be able to survive in the future? The horsemen of the apocalypse would definitely go in, and no one could stop them. Thus, killing Jiang Chen today was just an appetizer. Everyone would know that the Zhang brothers had left and walked out carrying Jiang Chen's corpse. This would make everyone tremble in fear. I'll accompany you to the end. Jiang Chen unsheathed his sword. At this time, he had no way out and could only give it his all. You'll die, Jiang Chen. Luo Ying's heart trembled. She was worried about Jiang Chen. This was something that even she had not expected. She was truly concerned about him, and it was not the kind of worry one would have for a companion. She did not want Jiang Chen to be defeated like this, and lose miserably. As long as my heart is not extinguished, my will to fight will never cease, Jiang Chen said firmly. His sword shadows were like a waterfall, and a cold light suddenly appeared as he faced Zhang Bail. You have guts like a man, but today is the day you die. Zhang Bail clenched his fists tightly, then he charged towards Jiang Chen with a heavy punch. Jiang Chen was defending instead of attacking, and he was as steady as Mount Tai. In Zhang Bail's eyes, Jiang Chen was like a tortoise hiding in its shell, and he had no combat strength at all. Boring. Go to hell. Zhang Bail shook his head. He raised his fist, but none of his attacks were able to catch Jiang Chen. It seemed like he had hit Jiang Chen's body, but Jiang Chen was always able to escape. This guy was as slippery as a loach, and this made Zhang Bail even more depressed. Jiang Chen's movement was so fast that Zhang Bail couldn't even catch a glimpse of him. In a flash, Jiang Chen used the mountain press and knocked Zhang Bail away. Zhang Bail staggered backward, his face filled with anger. Alu, I didn't expect you to be so weak, haha. Don't tell me you can't even beat someone who is about to die? Alu. Zhang Bail laughed and said to Zhang Baichen. Get lost. Mother ***, you're courting death. Zhang Bail snorted coldly. He clenched his fists, and 2 incomparably huge copper hammers appeared in his hands. They weighed more than 10,000 pounds, and as he swung them, they were like rolling thunder. Luo Ying was filled with shock, and she was even more worried about Jiang Chen. However, she did not have the strength to fight anymore, and could only rely on Jiang Chen alone. Even if his shoulders could bear 10,000 pounds, she still could not see any hope. Zhang Bail wielded the heavenly dragon sword and began to fight with Zhang Bail. The battle between the two became more and more intense. Jiang Chen's strength continued to recover, and he displayed the dragon transformation. He was almost as famous as Zhang Bail. Both of them had victories and defeats, and they were fighting fiercely. Zhang Bail was extremely depressed. He originally wanted to use Jiang Chen as an example, but he did not expect that it would end like this. Jiang Chen was not suppressed by him, Instead, he had the tendency to raise his head. If this continued, he would lose a lot of face. Although there were no outsiders among the four of them, he was still a half-step star-level expert. Bastard. Storm Tyrant Sky Hammer. Zhang Bail used his special skill. A strong wind rose, and the storm was invincible. He faced the huge hammers and kept smashing towards Jiang Chen. However, the heavenly dragon sword was terrifying, and he still had a lingering fear. Jiang Chen did not advance, but retreated instead. He changed his previous declining momentum, and the limitless sword took advantage of the situation to pursue and attack, causing a lot of trouble for Zhang Bail. It seems that fourth brother is in a difficult position. Zhang Baisong said faintly. Jiang Chen's recovery ability was amazing, but his injuries could not be completely healed. This had already made Zhang Baisong a little depressed. It seemed that this guy had to end the battle as soon as possible. I'll go and help him. Zhang Baichen nodded and flew up. He stepped on a flying swallow and rushed towards Jiang Chen. Both half-step star-level experts were at the first level of star transformation. However, for Jiang Chen, the pressure was increasing, but his fighting spirit had never been extinguished. Fourth brother, I'll help you. Ha! Zhang Baichen was already standing beside Zhang Bail as he spoke. The two of them looked at each other. Although Zhang Bail was unwilling, he had been fighting with Jiang Chen for a long time, and he could not take him down. His big brother could not stand it anymore. When the two brothers joined hands, their strength naturally doubled. It was more and more easy for them to fight against Jiang Chen. Luo Ying was still worried about Jiang Chen, but he did not embarrass himself at all. The more he fought, the braver he became. Even though he was facing two half-step star-level experts, he was still as steady as a mountain. His momentum did not diminish at all. That kind of indomitable momentum shocked the Zhang brothers. Zhang Bail and Zhang Baichen were furious. If the two of them still could not take down Jiang Chen, it would not be justifiable. How could a star emperor in the 8th heaven, and an injured one at that, beat them to this extent? Even they themselves felt ashamed. If this continued, Jiang Chen's arrogance would only become more and more arrogant. Just as the Zhang brothers expected, Jiang Chen's fighting spirit did not diminish at all even though he was fighting against two alone. The heavenly dragon sword had already become one with the sword. With the pressure from the two brothers, Jiang Chen clenched his teeth and increased the pressure on himself. Only in adversity could one continue to grow. The fragrance of plum blossoms comes from the bitter cold. Without experiencing a real storm, how could one see the rainbow? Chapter 48-24. The two brothers, Zhang Bail and Zhang Baichen, had already used all their means. Two half-step star levels, if it were any other ordinary expert, would have been defeated long ago. The reason why the four Zhang brothers could run amok was because the four half-step star levels were almost invincible and inseparable. Advance together, retreat together, and fight together. Jiang Chen was like a tenacious and unyielding blade of grass, seeking to survive in the cracks. He took each step carefully, also that he could have more opportunities and more pressure. The strong wind knew the strong grass, and the sharp blade was more than enough. Jiang Chen's eyes were filled with an unswerving determination. Even if there were endless difficulties in front of him and a bottomless abyss behind him, he still had to temper himself and move forward. He had to break through under pressure in order to become more tenacious and indomitable. Lean on the sword. Jiang Chen once again stabilized the situation. The two half-step star-grade experts had gradually entered their own territory. Although there was pressure, Jiang Chen was fearless. The sound of the blade and the rain of swords colliding made people's blood boil. The three of them fought for a long time, but it was hard to determine the victor. This made Luo Ying even more excited. This situation wasn't necessarily a good outcome for Jiang Chen, because their eldest brother and second brother hadn't made a move yet. Only two of the four brothers were dealing with Jiang Chen, so he was already unable to extricate himself. Luo Ying, on the other hand, couldn't help at all. This made her very depressed. At the same time, the person who was even more depressed was Zhang Baisong. He had originally thought that getting rid of a person who was about to die would be a piece of cake. However, his two younger brothers couldn't even take him down, which made him very unhappy. The third and fourth brothers weren't weak, but Jiang Chen wasn't easy to deal with either. If this continued, he would be slapped in the face. Second brother, show him what you're made of. Kill him without mercy. Zhang Baisong ordered Lung Lung. All right, Just wait and see, big brother. With me around, I will definitely slay this fiend. Zhang Baijiang was full of confidence. It was his credit that he was able to catch up with Jiang Chen. If it weren't for him, Jiang Chen would have probably found a chance to slip away. However, he had forced Jiang Chen into a dead end, and Jiang Chen had fallen into a desperate situation. Now that Old Third and Old Fourth couldn't take down Jiang Chen, he could only do it himself. Jiang Chen, I'm here to take your dog life. Die. Zhang Baijiang held a 9-foot-long spear in his hand. He held his saber horizontally as he galloped forward. His footsteps were very fast as he leaped forward. The cold light on his spear pressed forward. Jiang Chen felt like he was facing a great enemy. This Zhang Baijiang was much stronger than the other two. With him joining the fray, he had completely lost his chance to escape. Not only was Zhang Baijiang stronger, but his speed had also reached the limit. Without using the Sky Ascension Stairway, it was impossible for Jiang Chen to escape. However, he wouldn't leave. Otherwise, what would Luo Ying do alone? Wait for death? Jiang Chen couldn't do it. The heavenly dragon sword swept across and deflected Zhang Baijiang's snake spear. However, the two silhouettes behind Jiang Chen managed to push him back. Jiang Chen's footsteps finally became messy. It was not as easy as he thought it would be to fight against 3 people alone. Humph, let's get rid of him in one go, Zhang Bale said with a sinister smile. The 3 brothers worked together to control Jiang Chen, not giving him the slightest chance. As the pressure continued to escalate, Jiang Chen roared again and again. His imposing manner continued to rise, and his strength also improved tremendously. Endless Genesis Qi flowed through his body, completely breaking the shackles in his body. At that moment, although Jiang Chen was forced to retreat, the Genesis Qi in his body suddenly erupted. Get lost! Jiang Chen's imposing manner instantly rose to the apex. 9 heavens of the Star Emperor realm, with the strength to pick up mountains and matchless Qi. Although in the eyes of Zhang Baijiang and the others, Jiang Chen's improvement wasn't great, it was the difference of 1 heavens that made Jiang Chen feel as if he had been reborn. He broke through in battle and fought a life-and-death battle. The 9 heavens of the Star Emperor realm allowed Jiang Chen to succeed in every endeavor. He took advantage of the momentum of his sword to fight the 3 heroes. Jiang Chen's strength had broken through, and he fought against 3 half-step star-level experts. It was a chaotic and surging battle. Jiang Chen's blood was also boiling, and he was in the midst of a fierce battle. However, it was a pity that his injuries were getting worse. Although he had broken through to the 9 heavens of the Star Emperor realm, he was still not strong enough. Faced with the 3 people's attacks, he gradually became passive. The long spear swept across, the giant hammer shocked the sky, and the ghostly blade took his life. The 3 of them all exerted their full strength, trying to kill Jiang Chen. After wave of fierce attacks, Jiang Chen finally retreated in defeat. His face was sallow, and blood was gushing out. The heavenly dragon sword couldn't hold on by itself. Faced with the continuous oppression of the 3 people, it was already powerless to reverse the situation. Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen. Luo Ying murmured. Luo Ying murmured. She had already prepared herself. There was no turning back in this battle. She would die together with Jiang Chen. Eat my spear. Zhang Baijiang took the lead. His long spear rose into the air like a silver snake, stirring up the wind and clouds, and spinning the sky and earth. The giant hammer smashed down, and Jiang Chen retreated again and again. He pulled Luo Ying and ran forward. No matter what, at this time, Jiang Chen knew that he couldn't wait any longer. If he continued to fight, he might really fall. Bang, bang, bang. Bang, bang. The continuous bombardment reverberated in Jiang Chen and Luo Ying's ears. Boulders were rolling down from the foot of the mountain continuously. However, at this time, the force of the giant hammer smashed down, and a pitch-black cave was formed at the foot of the mountain. As soon as the cave appeared, an invisible storm instantly burst out from the cave. Jiang Chen's face suddenly changed, and he used the eternal celestial wind to protect himself. Even Zhang Baijiang and the others changed their expressions when they heard the wind, and they quickly dodged. This storm that burst out from the cave was not even detected by the experts who were half a step into the star level. Their eyes were filled with panic. Big brother, what's going on? Zhang Bale and the others looked at Zhang Baisong and looked at each other. The storm did not stop, and it gradually disappeared after the time it took for a stick of incense to burn. Jiang Chen looked at the incomparably dark cave, which was deep and full of mystery. An ancient melodious music seemed to be coming from the cave, and it also seemed like a sad cry that passed through thousands of years, which made people's hair stand on end. Jiang Chen simply made up his mind. Anyway, they had no way out. At this time, it was better to go into the pitch-black cave and explore it first. Whether they could survive or not depended on their luck. Jiang Chen and Luo Ying did not hesitate and quickly entered the cave. In order to avoid the Zhang brothers' pursuit, they could only do this. The unknown is always dangerous, and it's hard to understand. Zhang Bail and the others looked at each other and gave the decision to their big brother, Zhang Baijiang. Big brother, what should we do? Can we go down? Zhang Baichen asked in a deep voice. Zhang Baisong Lang said, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. At this point, we have no other way out. We have to get their destiny's stone and treasures. This Jiang Chen must have a lot of treasures with him. Someone who can take out the minor rejuvenation pill is no ordinary person. Zhang Baisong's words strengthened the brothers' thoughts. After a moment of silence, they followed closely to find Jiang Chen and Luo Ying. Chapter 48-25. Big Brother is right. What are we afraid of? Over the years, when had he ever retreated from the challenge of swimming? This Jiang Chen is quite capable. We couldn't kill him in the first place, so we can't let him go. The Destiny Stone is secondary. We can't bring shame to our reputation. That's right. Follow Big Brother. We brothers will advance and retreat together. A mere Jiang Chen is nothing to us. Zhang Baisong nodded his head slightly. His elder brother naturally had to take charge of the overall situation. Killing Jiang Chen was just a distraction. What they really needed to do next was to plunder. This pitch-black cave had attracted their curiosity, so it was impossible for them to retreat this time. This cave looks quite mysterious. Everyone, be careful. The 100 Ghosts bamboo forest isn't a good place. Keep your spirits up. Zhang Baisong took the lead. He had the demeanor of a big brother. Naturally, he couldn't let his brothers take the lead. The four of them quickly rushed down and entered the cave in a line. When Jiang Chen and Luo Ying rushed into the cave, they were also very cautious. They didn't know what this place was. There was a dim light in the surroundings, which was emitted by the night pearls. This was enough to show that this was not a natural cave. They didn't know whether it was now or in the past, but there had to be people living here. The cave was very vast, and there were many forks in the road. Jiang Chen and Luo Ying held each other's hands tightly. Jiang Chen was worried that they would be separated like when they first entered the 100 Ghosts bamboo forest. The deeper they went, the faintly discernible voices were echoing around, disturbing Jiang Chen's mind. However, they didn't dare stop, because once they did, they might be caught by the Zhang brothers. At that point of time, there would be no room for them to escape. No matter what this place was, it could at least protect their lives for the time being. You don't know this place? Jiang Chen looked at Luo Ying. Luo Ying used to be a know-all. If she didn't know something, then Jiang Chen would have to be careful. Luo Ying shook her head. I'm not omnipotent. This cave is really strange, and this faint voice makes me feel uneasy. These caves in front of us all have their own forks. I'm afraid we don't even know where we are. Jiang Chen sighed. As expected, Luo Ying did not know. However, this was also within Jiang Chen's expectations. They could only take one step at a time. The cave was supposed to be dark and damp, but that was not the case here. Jiang Chen saw some skeletons on the ground. Over the years, they turned to ash with a touch. However, under the white bones, Jiang Chen saw a few giant destiny stones. They were more than a foot long, bigger than all the destiny stones he had collected before. Is it really a destiny stone? Luo Ying was still in disbelief as she looked at Jiang Chen. However, it was undeniable that this was indeed a destiny stone. Seems like it's really fate. Jiang Chen's eyes were filled with joy. Few people would be able to find such a big destiny stone. Just as the two of them were rejoicing, Jiang Chen suddenly saw a black and white shadow in the distance. It was furry, as if it had big dark circles around its eyes. It looked clumsy, but it was very agile when it ran. It seemed to have seen Jiang Chen and Luo Ying, and the black and white monster ran away. What's that? Jiang Chen frowned. Let's go and take a look. Jiang Chen and Luo Ying were very surprised. There was actually a monster here? What was the origin of that black and white monster? However, when Jiang Chen and Luo Ying reached the end of the cave tunnel, the black and white shadow had already disappeared. This made Jiang Chen very confused. Although it looked fast, it shouldn't be that fast, right? Luo Ying raised her eyebrows slightly, and the expression in her eyes was extremely complicated. Strange, where does this cave lead to? It extends in all directions, and I can't find a real path at all. Jiang Chen shook his head. He had a headache, and it was a real headache. In this dark cave, he and Luo Ying couldn't find a way out at all. Moreover, the faint mournful cries were getting clearer and clearer, which made Jiang Chen's head hurt. Luo Ying also frowned. Her headache was getting more and more intense, and she was getting more and more nervous. Let's find a place to rest first, Luo Ying said. She and Jiang Chen were both seriously injured. Even if Jiang Chen's recovery ability was much stronger than hers, it was impossible for him to be like a fighting machine and not get tired for a long time. Moreover, Jiang Chen had just broken through to the 9th heaven of the Star Emperor realm, and his strength foundation hadn't been completely stabilized. These were all problems, and Jiang Chen needed to recover more than her. Okay. Jiang Chen and Luo Ying found a secluded place to sit down. Jiang Chen ate more than a dozen elixirs in a row. Luo Ying was dumbfounded. This guy ate the elixirs as if they were free, and he ate the minor rejuvenation pills more casually than she did. This guy really couldn't judge a book by its cover. Luo Ying was very clear that there were many things that Jiang Chen didn't know about her. She didn't know much about Jiang Chen, and she even needed to slowly get to know him. This mysterious guy hid far more than she did. After Jiang Chen ate the elixirs, he began to recover rapidly. He constantly healed his injuries, and with his super strong self-recovery ability, it took less than half a day for all his injuries to be healed. He had completely stabilized his cultivation in the 9th heaven of the Star Emperor realm. That powerful power once again surged into his heart. Jiang Chen took a deep breath. This feeling was very carefree. He didn't know when he would be able to touch the threshold of the half-step star level. If he wanted to break through to the half-step star level and complete the triple star transformation, it wouldn't be that easy. What's wrong with you? When Jiang Chen opened his eyes, he saw that Luo Ying's expression was very ugly. Although she had also eaten the elixirs he had given her, she had only recovered 60 to 70% of her strength. However, at this time, she was holding her head and frowning. She seemed to be in great pain. My head hurts. I don't know why, Luo Ying said in a low voice. Luo Ying said in a low voice, shaking her head. Jiang Chen could see that she was feeling very uncomfortable. How could this be? Previously, Jiang Chen had also felt a headache. However, after he recovered his strength, this feeling was reduced a lot. It wasn't enough to affect him. However, Jiang Chen was sure that the mysterious voice was still bothering them. When Jiang Chen raised his head, he saw a black and white shadow at the end of the cave tunnel. This made him even more curious. I don't know where the voice came from. We have to leave this place quickly. Although Jiang Chen was curious, he had a hunch that the hidden danger here might not be something they could control. Yes. Luo Ying nodded. She struggled and left quickly with Jiang Chen. They kept looking for an exit. However, they could feel that the voice was getting closer and closer. Moreover, Luo Ying's splitting headache was getting more and more painful. Jiang Chen's heart was restless. However, he still couldn't keep his mind clear. This made them even more anxious. Looks like this cave is like a maze. We can't get out at all. Jiang Chen was very depressed. He was being tortured by this sorrowful voice. However, he couldn't find the exit. This was simply too annoying. Right now they were in a dilemma. They had no way to leave this place. They couldn't find the source of this sorrowful voice. It was as if they had entered a dead end. Ah, help, help. Chapter 48-26. Aren't those the Zhang brothers? Luo Ying and Jiang Chen were startled. The one who ran past them was none other than Zhang Bail, the Zhang brothers who had fought with Jiang Chen before. No, while they were in a daze, Zhang Bail's desperate cry attracted Jiang Chen and Luo Ying's attention once again. They saw Zhang Bail lying on the ground with blood gushing out. The black and white shadow appeared in front of them again. This time, Jiang Chen saw it clearly. The black and white shadow was plump and hairy. It was taller than a human and slightly bloated. However, the claws on its hands were extremely sharp. The scratches on Zhang Bai's face extended all the way to his chest. His chest had been torn apart by the black and white monster. He died with his eyes wide open. What a frightening monster. Luo Ying took a deep breath, her face full of shock. Run. Jiang Chen pulled Luo Ying up. The monster's eyes were bloodthirsty, as if it had already regarded them as its target. Jiang Chen did not want to fight with this guy. Even Zhang Bai, who was half a step into the star level, had been killed in one move. Who could stand this? Staying here would be courting death. Of the 36 stratagems, running away was the best strategy. However, Jiang Chen found out that the black and white demon beast was extremely fast. Although it looked bloated and clumsy, it had forced them into a dead end. After all, this was its main battlefield, and Jiang Chen and the others were the ones in the most passive position. Rushing left and right, they continued to pass through the underground cave. Finally, Jiang Chen and Luo Ying were forced to an underground plaza. The spacious underground plaza was thousands of meters wide. Jiang Chen saw a huge stone tablet with 4 words engraved on it. Hidden Edgeland. Hidden Edgeland? Jiang Chen was puzzled, but he did not feel anything about this place. Hidden Edgeland? This is actually the Hidden Edgeland. It actually exists. Luo Ying's body trembled, her eyes filled with shock. Her shock surprised Jiang Chen. It seemed that Luo Ying knew about this place. You know this place? Jiang Chen asked. His heart was filled with curiosity. This stone stele was 10 feet tall and it was mighty and domineering. It gave off an extremely cold and domineering aura that made one feel oppressed. I've only heard of it in an ancient record. It said that the Hidden Edgeland is a prison, and that the most terrifying demon of the heavenly enlightenment planet was sealed there. The Hidden Edgeland has always been a legend of the Heaven Awakened planet, and no one knows where it is. Some people guess that it's in the No Man's region, while others guess that it's just a legend and is nowhere to be found. Luo Ying was clearly shocked by the Hidden Edge grounds. It seemed like this wasn't a good place. Chi chi, a low roar mixed with anger rang out, making Jiang Chen and Luo Ying feel as if they were facing a great enemy. That was because the black and white demon beast had already caught up to them. The two of them continued to run forward and saw Zhang Baisong, Zhang Baichen, and Zhang Baijiang. The 3 of them were facing 2 black and white demon beasts and were being pushed back again and again. All of them were heavily injured and their lives were hanging by a thread. It seemed like they could be slapped to death at any moment. So many demon beasts? Jiang Chen took a deep breath. These demon beasts were simply too powerful. The 3 half-step star states were already on the verge of death, and the 2 of them were also in a difficult situation. Jiang Chen, save me. Save me. I'll give you all the destiny stones you want. Zhang Baijiang's face was filled with terror. His body was covered in blood, and the claw marks were so deep that bones could be seen. The 3 of them had no way out. In the eyes of the black and white demon beasts, they were already people who were about to die. Jiang Chen sneered. Save you? I don't even know who can save me now. Even if I can save you, I won't save you. You fellows deserve it. You deserve to die without a burial place. Didn't you want to chase after me? Didn't you want to kill me? Now they had gone for wool and come home shorn. This was retribution. Jiang Chen, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Do you think that if we die you can leave here alive? If we die you'll die too. Zhang Baisong clenched his teeth and said. At this time, they were already at their wits' end. These 2 black and white demon beasts that came out of nowhere were too strong. Even so, I want to see you die first. Only then will I be satisfied. Jiang Chen said Lung Lung. The Zhang brothers were seething with anger because of Jiang Chen, but they knew that death was approaching them step by step. They had no chance at all and could only face it alone. It felt like the Grim Reaper was stabbing them to death in front of their eyes. No words could describe the despair and bitterness they felt. Swish, 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 swish. Before Jiang Chen and Luo Ying could run away, more demon beasts rushed out one after another. There were a total of 11 of them, and they seemed to cover the sky as they rushed towards Zhang Baisong and the others. The screams of the 3 were still lingering in their ears. The 11 demon beasts were like dry weeds and rotten wood. The 3 half-step star-level experts didn't even have the strength to fight back. The remaining demon beast firmly locked onto Jiang Chen and Luo Ying. Next it was their turn. Looking at the 3 guys on the ground covered in blood, Luo Ying couldn't help but feel a chill run down her spine. What kind of monsters were these demon beasts? Why hadn't she heard of them? Why wasn't there any news about them? Moreover, they were so powerful that it made her hair stand on end. These fellows were definitely comparable to the experts of the second or third star transformation of the half-step star realm. Although they hadn't reached the true star realm, it would be easy for them to kill Jiang Chen and her. Jiang Chen, what should we do? Luo Ying said in a low voice. Luo Ying's scalp went numb. If it was as she expected, the Zhang brothers in front of her were likely to be a lesson for them. Their deaths were too miserable. They didn't even have the strength to fight back. Rush out, Jiang Chen said. Right now, they had no other choice but to rush out. As for whether they could succeed or not, it was up to the heavens. Luo Ying felt that Jiang Chen's words were a fantasy. How could this be possible? However, looking at Jiang Chen's expression, he looked very solemn and solemn. Do you really have the confidence to rush out? Can you really do it? Luo Ying murmured. Jiang Chen pulled her hand and used the sky-ascending stairway, wanting to use spatial displacement to escape from this place. However, Jiang Chen didn't expect that his sky-ascending stairway would fail for the first time, and he couldn't use it. It's a starry sky meteorite. That huge starry sky meteorite is similar to the starry sky meteorite iron, but it has unparalleled starry sky energy. The Black King's voice appeared in Jiang Chen's ears. Jiang Chen looked towards the source of the voice. In the center of the square in front of them, there was indeed a brown starry sky meteorite. The starry sky meteorite had sealed off the space within a radius of 10 miles. Jiang Chen couldn't use the sky-ascending stairway to leave this place. Bang! Chapter 48-27. Cough, cough. Jiang Chen coughed twice. His face was extremely ugly. Besieged by 12 demonic beasts, they were already at a dead end. I'm the one who implicated you, Luo Ying said in a low voice, feeling guilty. It's useless to talk about this now. Let's think about how to get out of here. Jiang Chen shrugged and said, wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth. His eyes were full of fighting spirit. Was there really a chance to leave this place? Luo Ying asked herself. These black and white demonic beasts were too strong. They were not a match for them at all. Even if they fought with their backs to the wall, the ending would probably be the same. However, Luo Ying would never admit defeat easily. The same went for Jiang Chen. The two looked at each other, and the determination in their eyes was exactly the same. Now, it was no longer a matter of whether they were willing to fight or not. They were forced to fight with their lives on the line. Void Dragon Armor. Luo Ying's delicate body trembled, and a layer of golden dragon-patterned armor appeared on her body. Jiang Chen was stunned. This dragon-patterned armor was made from a dragon's reverse scale. It seemed that Luo Ying really had a lot of treasures on her. Fight with our backs to the wall. The warrior is the hero. Today's battle is a battle of life and death. In this life, I have no regrets in knowing you as a friend. Luo Ying smiled calmly and looked at Jiang Chen. She stepped forward and fought with her life on the line. How could Jiang Chen show weakness? He stood back to back with Luo Ying and began to fight against the 12 demonic beasts. Knowing that it was impossible, they still did it. This was their final outcome. Whether they lived or died, it all depended on today. Jiang Chen used all his means to fight 1 against 3. He had already reached his limit. The 28th blade could no longer pose any threat to these demonic beasts. It looked ordinary, but it was full of killing intent. The sharp claws and the heavenly dragon sword constantly intertwined, and sparks flew everywhere. Jiang Chen was forced to retreat continuously. These guys were so strong that they were abnormal. It was the same for Luo Ying, but she was in a much more difficult situation than Jiang Chen. Even with the protective armor on her body, she couldn't withstand the deadly attacks of these demonic beasts. Jiang Chen believed that even a true stellar realm expert wouldn't be able to escape unscathed from the force of these 12 demonic beasts. This wasn't the end of their monstrous strength. Their opponents had nowhere to hide and couldn't find any chance of survival. The 4 Zhang brothers were as strong as a half-step stellar level expert, but they all died here. Jiang Chen and Luo Ying were cautious, but they still could not escape. The 12 demonic beasts did not need to go all out. They were defeated with every move. You made an azure light sword. Luo Ying's strength was fierce. With the protection of the armor, the light sword overlapped. She killed her way into the group of demonic beasts. She entered and exited 3 times, but she still could not turn the situation around. Under the rampaging demonic beasts, blood spurted out. Howl. The demonic beast's momentum was fierce, tearing the sky. Even with the protection of the armor, Luo Ying was still seriously injured. Her bones were broken more than 10 steps away. Without the protection of the armor, she would have died a glorious death. Although she had broken through to the half-step stellar level, it was still a drop in the bucket. Facing so many half-step stellar level demonic beasts, she finally felt despair. Jiang Chen was also at his wits' end. Because of the meteorite, the stairway to heaven could not be used. If Jiang Chen wanted to leave this place, it would be as difficult as ascending to heaven. Seeing that Luo Ying was gradually being defeated, Jiang Chen felt miserable. With the limitless sword, he was able to hold his own against the demonic beasts. However, he was being attacked from the front and back. After dozens of moves, he felt that his strength was no longer as strong as he wished. The might of the heavenly dragon sword was still there, but it was a pity that Jiang Chen could no longer withstand the attacks of these demonic beasts. Eternal Immortal Wind. 28 Swords. 1 Sun Finger. Jiang Chen did not look sideways. He cautiously unleashed the 1 Sun Finger, forcing back 4 demonic beasts. However, he was unable to kill them. On the other hand, the Genesis Qi in his body had been exhausted, and his injuries were worsening. Although he could recover his Genesis Qi by taking the little rejuvenation pill, his body could not last long in a battle. That would drag down his essence, Qi and spirit, turning him into a living dead man. The power of the 9 tribulations' heavenly imprisoning finger could not be said to be weak. 1 finger could shake the world, and even Luo Ying was shocked. The incomparably ferocious power descended from the sky and was unstoppable. However, it could not help Jiang Chen establish victory. The powerful aura directly sent several demonic beasts flying, and even seriously injured them. However, there was a limit to one's strength. The pressure on Jiang Chen increased, and all the demonic beasts seemed to become even more furious. Jiang Chen was facing threats from all directions. The hope of escaping was extremely slim. Be careful! Luo Ying cried out, and a sharp claw swiped across the air. Jiang Chen could not avoid it in time, and Luo Ying just happened to rush in front of Jiang Chen. The two were sent flying again, and even the dragon-patterned armor on Luo Ying's body was completely shattered. Puffed! Luo Ying spat out a mouthful of blood. Her face was pale, and she smiled bitterly because she knew that she had no chance at all this time. Thank you, Jiang Chen said in a low voice. The two of them depended on each other for survival, and they had completely become a pair of ill-fated mandarin ducks. I didn't expect the two of us to die together in the end. Luo Ying's face was filled with bitterness, and the corners of her mouth were filled with helplessness. Fate played tricks on people, and who could do anything about it? It was supposed to be a simple Horseman of the Apocalypse assessment, but they did not expect to mistakenly enter the hidden edgeland. They were really unlucky to encounter these terrifying demonic beasts. If not for the 4 Zhang brothers, they would not have died here. These guys would have already gone to see the King of Hell. Never give up until the last moment. Jiang Chen stood with his sword, gasping for breath. Death was like the wind, always accompanying him. However, he would never admit defeat so easily. Starlight entered the body, torrential starlight. Jiang Chen used the astral pole, and rays of starlight rose up. The starlight was resplendent, and like a waterfall, it crushed down. The 12 demonic beasts were all forced back a few steps, but then they became even more turbulent and chased after Jiang Chen. Not enough, I'm still not strong enough. Jiang Chen's heart was filled with anger and unwillingness. The 9 tribulations imprisoning heavenly finger was very strong, and it could force back several half-step star-level demonic beasts, but it was not strong enough. The torrential starlight was also very intimidating, but the reason was the same. In the end, it was because he was not strong enough. Logically speaking, with his current 9-level Star Emperor ability, he should not have been suppressed to this extent against a few half-step star-level experts. These demonic beasts were all monsters at the 2nd level of the star transformation realm. Jiang Chen could not resist at all. Their power, momentum, resistance, and even their strange and ever-changing speed and mysterious existence all made Jiang Chen feel helpless. He could not beat them, and he could not run away either. This was what made him the most speechless. The torrential starlight lit up the entire underground palace, and starlight overflowed everywhere. When Jiang Chen saw the starry sky meteorite also emitting a glimmer of light, he could not help but be moved. Chapter 48-28. Damn you, I'm going all out. If I can absorb the power of the stars in that meteorite, I might have a chance to survive. Jiang Chen knew that he had to make a final decision at this time. He didn't know what kind of miraculous power that meteorite had, but Jiang Chen knew that it must contain an infinite amount of star power. Otherwise, when he used the starlight to enter his body, the meteorite wouldn't have suddenly erupted with a dazzling brilliance. Life or death, it all depended on this one move. Astral pole. Starlight enter body. Jiang Chen exerted all his strength, his face incomparably dignified. Luo Ying's face was also filled with shock. Did Jiang Chen still want to fight to the death? However, with so many demonic beasts in front of them, did they still have any hope of surviving? Jiang Chen urged the astral pole and leaped up, absorbing the power of the stars and that incomparably huge meteorite into his body. In an instant, those demonic beasts became incomparably angry. They didn't care about Luo Ying at all. In their eyes, there was only one target, and that was Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen could feel that these guys were filled with anger towards him. It was as if him standing on this meteorite was worse than touching their 8 generations of ancestors. They couldn't wait to cut him into 1,000 pieces and kill him with their eyes. However, he couldn't care so much. Strangely, Jiang Chen felt that the power of the stars in this meteorite was like a tidal wave, crazily pouring into his body, making him feel refreshed. The power of the stars spread throughout his limbs and bones. The carefree and excited feeling was overflowing. Jiang Chen knew that his idea was absolutely correct. As long as he absorbed the power of the stars, he absolutely had the confidence to erupt with an unprecedented terrifying power. Luo Ying looked at Jiang Chen, her eyes filled with doubt. She didn't dare to believe it. He actually turned all the energy in the meteorite into his own. How is this possible? How is this possible? Luo Ying had never heard of this before. The power of the stars was only a legend. Could the energy within the meteorite be the power of the stars? Before Luo Ying could regain her wits, Jiang Chen's sword had already descended from the sky, carrying with it an incomparable and shocking starlight. It was like a torrential rain of pear blossoms raining down on the earth. Chi chi chi. An ear-piercing buzzing sound exploded in the air. Starlight shone and shot down in all directions. Jiang Chen was like a god, looking down from above, causing people to feel intimidated. Terrifying astral energy filled the sky, forcing the 12 demonic beasts back. Astral light pierced through their bodies, causing blood to spurt everywhere. Their bodies were riddled with holes. Jiang Chen spat out a mouthful of blood as he leaned on his sword. He knelt on one knee as if his soul had been sucked out. His eyes were blank and his spirit was extremely weak. Jiang Chen. Luo Ying's face was filled with anxiety as she rushed towards Jiang Chen. At this moment, the demonic beasts had all fallen to the ground. Blood splattered everywhere. The scene was so shocking that Luo Ying sucked in a breath of cold air. I'm fine. Jiang Chen shook his head and coughed twice. His eyes were blank, but he let out a long breath. The 12 demonic beasts beneath his feet had already turned into corpses. Blood and sweat continuously dripped down. An indescribable sense of relief finally appeared in Jiang Chen's eyes. Too strong. You actually killed 12 demonic beasts half a step into the stargrade with that move. We finally escaped this calamity. Luo Ying also smiled slightly. The feeling of surviving a calamity was very carefree. However, because of this, Jiang Chen had overdrawn his body and was completely hollowed out. The astral pole was indeed powerful. Jiang Chen's choice wasn't wrong. If he hadn't risked his life at the critical moment and swallowed the power of the meteorite, he would have already become a pile of bones. He would have died under the claws of these demonic beasts, just like the Zhang brothers. The power of the meteorite was too strong. If Jiang Chen hadn't directly released it through the astral transformation, his body would have most likely exploded. Fortunately, everything was within his expectations. I was just lucky. Jiang Chen waved his hand, his face full of calmness. The hidden edge grounds was indeed full of crouching tigers and hidden dragons. He had almost lost his glory here. However, at this time, he could leave this place with peace of mind. We shouldn't stay here for long. Let's hurry up and leave. Jiang Chen glanced at the movements around him. He felt that this place was very mysterious. The hidden edge grounds might not be as simple as they had imagined. There's no rush. You should hurry up and recover your body. Your current body is too weak, Luo Ying said. She also knew that this place wasn't suitable for them to stay for long. However, Jiang Chen's injuries were far more serious than hers. He needed to recuperate properly. Just in case, I'll go and explore the surroundings first. You can rest here and recuperate. These demonic beasts are already dead. There shouldn't be any danger here. After Luo Ying finished speaking, she stood guard for Jiang Chen and went to investigate the movements around them. Jiang Chen took a deep breath and swallowed 2 medicinal pills. He began to focus on recovering his strength. However, at this time, Jiang Chen discovered that the surroundings had started to tremble. Although it was very light, it was real. It wasn't an illusion. His senses were very sharp, so he definitely wouldn't have misheard it. Could it be that this place was going to collapse? Jiang Chen's heart skipped a beat. He saw that the meteorite in front of him had already lost all its energy. It started to crack bit by bit. The surrounding tremors were getting more and more intense. Looks like this place is going to collapse. We need to leave this place quickly. Jiang Chen murmured. He had already sensed a trace of danger. You can't leave yet. Master, this might be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for you. Just as Jiang Chen was about to leave, the Black King's voice suddenly appeared in his mind. Jiang Chen was stunned. The Black King's words had a hidden meaning. Why? Each of those 12 demonic beasts has a demon crystal on their body. It's more than countless Heaven's Mandate stones. They survive by feeding on Heaven's Mandate stones. The Heaven's Mandate stones are the source of their life, and the demon crystal is the core of the Heaven's Mandate stone's energy. Ordinary people wouldn't think that Heaven's Mandate stones could help them break through to the next level of their innate astral soul. Although the energy of Heaven's Mandate stones was not small, the amount of energy that could be used as an innate astral soul could be counted on one's fingers. Hence, using a Heaven's Mandate stone to break through to the next level of an innate astral soul was practically unrealistic. However, the demon crystals in front of him were too powerful. It was simply a blessing from the heavens. If you can completely fuse the 12 demon crystals at this time, it might be a transformative baptism for you. It might even be possible for you to break through to the next level of your innate astral soul. Because the energy in these 12 demon crystals is too huge. Moreover, these 12 demon crystals are constantly losing energy. If you don't seize this opportunity now, it's very likely that you won't have such an opportunity again. Chapter 48-29. Once I break through, it'll be like a carp leaping over the dragon's gate. This kind of opportunity is rare. Jiang Chen knew that he had no other choice. Miss Luo. Jiang Chen called out softly. Luo Ying, who was 100 meters away, quickly rushed back. However, at this time, she also felt the surrounding tremors. We may not be able to stay for long. Let's leave this place first. I feel like this place is going to collapse. Luo Ying said solemnly. You go first. I may have to stay for the time being. Hurry up and leave this place. If anything happens, we may all be in danger. I'm staying for myself. You don't have to worry about me. Jiang Chen said. Why? Luo Ying was puzzled. This place was about to collapse. Why did he still refuse to leave? Everyone has a belief in life. It may be as light as a feather or as heavy as Mount Tai, but it's all one's own choice. Perhaps it's insignificant to you, but it's too important to me. I'm guessing that the assessment for you to enter the Knights of the Apocalypse is not just this, right? Jiang Chen smiled faintly. Finally, it was time for them to part ways. Luo Ying nodded heavily. Everyone had their own aspirations. Since there was no danger to his life, there was no need for him to force others. After all, Jiang Chen was not a 3-year-old child. He would definitely not do something that would bring about his own destruction. Take care. Okay. Jiang Chen nodded. Luo Ying turned around and left. Suddenly, Luo Ying stood on the spot and took a deep breath. Then she said in a deep voice, emphasizing every word, "Come out alive." Luo Ying left because she had more important things to do. She could not follow Jiang Chen through life and death, at least not yet. She was very grateful that Jiang Chen had saved her, but everyone had their own aspirations. Luo Ying's aspirations did not lie here. Jiang Chen looked at the bodies of the 12 beasts. Sword shadows flashed by and 12 demon crystals were thrown out. Just as the Black King had said, these 12 demon crystals were filled with unparalleled energy. They were all the energy of the Destiny Stone. Breaking through to the heavenly fate astral soul isn't easy. We no longer have a chance. Although the surroundings might collapse at any moment, we must seize every second to refine it. Master, I will protect you. The Black King said in a deep voice. Jiang Chen clenched his fist and took a dozen demon crystals into his palm. He took a deep breath and began to absorb the demon crystals wholeheartedly. Jiang Chen rapidly absorbed the energy within the demon crystals. That boundless energy constantly rushed into Jiang Chen's sea of consciousness. Jiang Chen's heart was filled with excitement. The energy within the demon crystals allowed his soul to undergo a baptism, allowing it to grow explosively. His vision became clearer and clearer. His gaze was like a heavenly sword, sweeping through the 8 desolate lands. Everyone is a star in the sky. Everyone has their own destiny astral soul. However, it's extremely difficult to awaken it, Jiang Chen murmured. As the energy within the demon crystals was gradually absorbed, the vision in Jiang Chen's sea of consciousness grew wider and wider. It even covered a radius of 10 miles, 100 miles, the entire 100-ghost bamboo forest, half of the heavenly awakening Milky Way city, the entire heavenly awakening Milky Way city, the Light Province's Great Rift Valley, the Xueqi forest. Finally, Jiang Chen's astral soul had already covered half of the heavenly awakening star. What terrifying astral soul energy! After awakening my heavenly mandate astral soul, I might be able to see through the entire heavenly awakening starfield. Great waves of shock rose in Jiang Chen's heart. However, when the astral soul energy covered half of the heavenly awakening star, Jiang Chen already felt exhausted. 10,000 years in a single glance, seeing through the entire universe. Powerful. Too powerful. Pooh! Jiang Chen coughed out a mouthful of blood. The 12 demon crystals had all been absorbed, but his astral soul still hadn't broken through. Even the demon crystals, which contained the essence of millions of heaven's mandate stones, didn't allow it to transform. Not enough, still not enough. It's far from enough. Jiang Chen was very clear in his heart how monstrous it was to awaken his astral soul. Even after devouring so many heaven's mandate stones, it was useless. He could only say that he had awakened a small portion of his astral soul, allowing him to see through half of the heavenly awakening star. But even so, 10,000 years in a single glance, seeing through the entire universe caused his body to suffer a huge burden. Luckily, he had yet to awaken his innate astral soul. If not, he would have already died a tragic death the moment he activated his innate astral soul. Right now, you should be at the void soul realm. Your astral soul isn't stable enough. Master, your strength is still too weak when compared to those supreme existences in the cosmos. Hence, even if you completely awaken your astral soul, you might not even be able to imagine the pressure. The Black King spoke. Wait, that's... Jiang Chen retracted his astral soul energy. In an instant, beneath the destroyed astral meteor, Jiang Chen discovered an existence that caused him to panic. That was an incomparably gigantic existence. That was a suffocating existence that was slowly awakening. Because of this, the tremors underground could be felt, and because of this, the astral meteor shattered into pieces. Run! A thought appeared in Jiang Chen's mind. Right now he had to run. If he didn't, he might become the cannon fodder of this gigantic existence. Back then, Luo Ying had said that this was the Vault of Hidden Edges. There was an incomparably gigantic demon hidden here. Could it be that this astral meteor was used to suppress demons? As he thought of this, Jiang Chen's countenance drastically changed. He couldn't stay here for long. He had to leave this place as soon as possible. A demon that had been sealed for countless years suddenly moved. How could Jiang Chen not be shocked? Not only that, the astral meteor he had devoured earlier might very well be used to suppress this demon. However, it was already too late to say anything now. The footsteps of the Grim Reaper were inching closer and closer. If Jiang Chen didn't kill those fellows, he would die as well. Even the demonic beasts guarding the Vault of Hidden Edges were abnormally powerful. It was impossible for him to deal with this unknown demon. Although Jiang Chen was arrogant, he wasn't blindly arrogant. He knew that his strength was limited. Kacha, 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 kacha. The meteorite gradually shattered, and in the end, all of it turned into crushed stones and rolled away. Jiang Chen could only see a black shadow. It was huge, and it was slowly shaking. The entire underground cave was shaking more and more violently. Jiang Chen didn't even have time to look. However, just as he turned to escape, he heard a deafening sound. The clear sky cannot be raised, and the heavens cannot be destroyed. My fate is my own, not the heavens. You want to suppress me? Dream on. The roar that came from the depths of the throat made Jiang Chen's eyes pop out of their sockets. It was too powerful. This wasn't a power that a star-grade powerhouse could unleash. Although Jiang Chen had only seen one star-grade powerhouse before, and that was Tong Woody, even he was probably just a child playing house in front of this demon. Chapter 48:30. The rumbling sound of the ground collapsing could be heard for a long time. Jiang Chen tried his best to escape. This peerless demonic devil was coming at him aggressively. Even though he had just escaped, he was still as overbearing as before. When Jiang Chen escaped from the ground, he saw a huge crater that was collapsing. Looking around, he couldn't see the end of it. However, another crater that was tens of thousands of meters deep had also appeared out of nowhere, causing dust to fly into the sky. Jiang Chen suddenly turned his head and took a deep breath. He saw a shocking red light spreading across the sky. It seemed to have some kind of magical power. Half of the plants that were touched by the light withered. A giant black shadow covered the sky and rushed to the peak of the void. Just what kind of demon is this? It's hard to imagine. Jiang Chen sighed. He knew that this kind of existence was not something he could hope to reach. Even on the Heaven Awakened planet, this kind of power was probably at the top of the pyramid or even stronger. At the same time, on the Heaven Awakened planet, many people were standing in the sky looking up, their eyes filled with shock and horror. I wonder how Luo Ying and Tong Ling are doing. Jiang Chen glanced at the bottomless pit and felt a lingering fear. He already had more than 100 destiny stones with him, but for safety's sake, he had to find more destiny stones as soon as possible before the end of the exam. There was still a long way to go before he could awaken a Heaven's Fate star. Jiang Chen knew that he couldn't be too hasty, and the destiny stones were just like a cup of water to a burning cart of firewood. Even if he wanted to use his soul power now, he could only detect a small part of the Heaven Awakened planet, and it was far from being able to cover every corner. It would take at least a few days, and he couldn't last more than 10 breaths of time. There was still a long way to go. Jiang Chen continued on his journey, detouring around the deep pit. After being covered by the red light, more than half of the plants in the 100 Ghosts bamboo forest started withering, and some even completely dried up in the end. The whole process happened within half an hour, and Jiang Chen felt strange about it. Furthermore, the roars of beasts in the forest had become more frequent. He had never noticed that there were so many demon beasts in this forest before this. Hiss! When Jiang Chen turned around, he saw a lot of pythons behind him. Each of them was more than 10 meters long, and they surrounded Jiang Chen from all sides. These demon beasts were very strong, and they surrounded Jiang Chen from all sides. The eyes of these pythons were scarlet red, and they were filled with a thirst for blood. Jiang Chen's body moved, and the dozen pythons were the first to attack. They attacked first and rushed in front of Jiang Chen. It seemed like these pythons only had one goal, and that was to devour him. In the blink of an eye, Jiang Chen unsheathed his sword and slashed at the cyan-patterned pythons. Sword chi rippled, and the dozen pythons were killed by Jiang Chen in a few breaths. Although they were ferocious, their cultivations were not strong. After their ferocious attacks, they were cut into several pieces by Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen continued forward. In the past few days, he had encountered no less than 20 waves of attacks. He would encounter them a few times a day, and there was no time to search for Tianming. There were all kinds of demonic beasts, and they only had one goal, and that was to kill. All demonic beasts had one thing in common, and that was that they were inhumane, and did not have any intelligence at all. Run! Those demonic beasts are catching up again. Damn it! This group of haunting fellows is too shameless. Don't they know that a cornered enemy shouldn't be chased? That's right. I'm still young, and I still have a long life ahead of me. I don't want to bring honor to my ancestors and become a member of the Knights of the Apocalypse. Why are you thinking about this now? Let's get out of here alive first. Jiang Chen looked into the distance. 6 or 7 figures were faintly discernible, running at high speed. In the blink of an eye, they were not far away from him. There were 7 people in total, and Tong Ling was among them. Those people were all in a sorry state. There were many wounds all over their bodies. The lightest one had 2 or 3 cuts. They were panting heavily. 6 star emperors in the 9th heaven and 1 expert half a step away from the star level were in such a sorry state. Howl, with a wolf howl. Dozens of wild wolves appeared from all directions, surrounding them. Oh no, there are more and more of them. These wild wolves all have the cultivation of the 9th heaven star emperor, and they have the right time, place and people. We have no chance at all. What can we do? Let's fight, someone said while gnashing his teeth. His eyes were filled with anger and despair. They were all injured. Even if they weren't injured, it wouldn't be easy for them to deal with so many demonic beasts. They were in someone else's territory, yet they still wanted to defeat them? How could it be possible with so many people? From the beginning, they had been attacked by more than 10 wild wolves. Their physical strength was exhausted, and in the end, they were defeated. They wanted to escape, but they found that more wild wolves had caught up and completely blocked their way. I didn't expect that I would die here. Ha! Tong Ling said with a bitter smile. Originally, she was qualified to enter the Knights of the Apocalypse, but she did not expect to be fed to the wild wolves at this time. When they broke out of the encirclement, they had already used all their skills. Now, there were 5 times the number of monsters before. Wasn't it impossible to escape? Tong Ling had just done all this. She had just proved herself. As long as she entered the Knights of the Apocalypse, she would be her father's pride. But the result was very different. After going through so many hardships, she would die in the hands of these monsters. This was simply too depressing. She did not know how Jiang Chen was doing. Tong Ling had lost her way after entering the 100-ghost bamboo forest. She had also lost track of Jiang Chen and Luo Ying. After going around in circles, she met a few people to resist the danger together. Only by working together could they have a chance to survive. But now, even working together could not stop these terrifying monsters. The 100-ghost bamboo forest lived up to its reputation. Danger was indeed everywhere, and life was hanging by a thread. How unlucky! Too damn unlucky, but I will drag 2 of them down with me even if I die, someone said fiercely. Someone said fiercely. The surrounding wolf heads were a symbol of despair to them. The eyes of each wolf head were filled with an unparalleled killing intent. They all knew that this battle was going to be a battle where only 9 out of 10 of them would survive. Fight! Someone roared. 7 people rushed into the wolf pack and began a desperate resistance. They would die either way, so they might as well fight to the death. Blade lights and sword shadows filled the sky. The howls of wolves were frightening. Those wild wolves were extremely ferocious. They were no weaker than experts in the 9th sky of the Star Emperor realm. Such a pack of wolves could even take down 8 or 10 experts half a step into the Star realm. The attacks of the wolves had always been known for their valiance. When Tong Ling and the others attacked, they were forced to retreat again and again. The 50-odd wolves had already formed an encirclement, and their range of movement was getting smaller and smaller. If this continued, death was only a matter of time. Everyone clenched their teeth and resisted with all their might. Those sharp claws and huge bodies crushed down on them, causing them to complain incessantly. The strength of this pack of wolves is simply terrifying. Jiang Chen's expression changed slightly as he said in deep thought. Although the monsters he had encountered before were also very strong, these wolves were very troublesome. His scalp even felt numb. Chapter 48-31. In less than 15 minutes, Tong Ling and the others could no longer hold on. Facing the attacks of the wolves, their lives were hanging by a thread. They fought with their lives on the line, but it was to no avail. No one could have imagined that their path to the test would fall at the hands of a group of monsters. They were already 1 step away from joining the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, but the result was unacceptable. It looks like we're really going to fall here. The 100 Ghosts bamboo forest lives up to its reputation. Who said otherwise? I never dared to imagine that I would fall here and die for no reason. Damn it, it's fine even if I die on the battlefield, but it's too unfair for me to die here. There's no such thing as fairness in this world. The loser has no excuse and can only blame us for being too mediocre. In the next life, I hope we won't end our lives so mediocre. Everyone was covered in blood, their faces full of despair. The god of death had appeared in front of them like an unreachable mountain, making it difficult for them to even look at its back. Tongling was no exception. She clenched her teeth, her vitality completely gone. Now, they could only passively take a beating and wait for death to come. Balls aha, Sandro, I might not be able to wait for you to join the horsemen of the apocalypse. I'm sorry. Tongling murmured, recalling the joys of their youth and their dreams. They had agreed that the horsemen of the apocalypse would be their lifelong pursuit, but she had fallen behind midway. Tongling was unwilling to believe that kind of despair and parting, but she no longer had the chance to escape. Jiang Chen, I have no regrets knowing you in this life. This is what a bosom friend should be like. Unfortunately, we can only be friends in the next life. Why wait for the next life? We can be brothers in this life, and we can meet again in the next life. Jiang Chen's voice sounded in Tongling's ears. Tongling's expression changed and he quickly turned around to look. That firm and heavy figure was filled with a vigorous and domineering aura. He carried a huge sword on his back and slowly walked towards them. I'm not dreaming, am I? Tongling couldn't even believe it. Jiang Chen, is it really you? It really is you, Jiang Chen. Tongling's heart was filled with joy. All of a sudden, her heart was filled with hope, because as long as Jiang Chen was there, she would be able to escape danger every time. No matter how much trouble she encountered, no matter how great the danger, she would be able to easily solve it. Jiang Chen was her reassurance. Jiang Chen's appearance to Tongling was like a withered tree coming back to life. Be careful. Jiang Chen stepped on a flying goose and flew up. With a kick, he sent the wild wolf behind Tongling flying. Tongling looked at Jiang Chen with lingering fear and nodded slightly. She was overjoyed. With Jiang Chen here, she could be at ease. You shouldn't have come. Tongling looked at Jiang Chen with a complicated look. If I don't come, who will save you? If I didn't come, how would I explain it to Balzaha and Sandro? If I don't come, do you want me to collect your corpse? Jiang Chen smiled faintly. In order to save Tongling, he was fearless. It's Jiang Chen? He's here. Maybe we have hope. He's alone. Can he turn the tide? This Jiang Chen is said to be miraculous. Is he really that powerful? It's hard to say. But Jiang Chen's strength has always been a mystery. He came first in both exams. He might really be able to save us. Even a tiger can't stand up to a pack of wolves. How can Jiang Chen be a match for so many wild wolves? He's the same as us. He's only at the 9th heaven of Star Emperor. Many people were looking at Jiang Chen, wondering if he could help them get out of danger. But the greater the hope, the greater the disappointment. Perhaps Jiang Chen's appearance was just to help them share the burden a little more. The god of death was unpredictable. It was as difficult as ascending to heaven for Jiang Chen to save them from this disaster. Thank you. Tongling looked at Jiang Chen affectionately. For her, Jiang Chen was like a spring breeze, awakening her vitality again. But at this time, the pack of wolves would not give them any chance. One by one, the wolves pounced on them. That kind of craziness and oppression was suffocating. Jiang Chen pulled out his sword. With the heavenly dragon's sword in his hand, it was as if he was invincible. He rushed left and right with Tongling. His sword chi was overbearing. One by one, the wolves were knocked down to the ground. He was as fierce as a fierce lion. Compared to these wolves, they felt that Jiang Chen was more terrifying. Jiang Chen killed in and out. He killed more than 10 wolves in a row. He was like a deity descending to the world. The 10 people were so shocked that their faces turned pale and they were overjoyed. Initially, they didn't have much hope in Jiang Chen, but Jiang Chen had given them such great feedback. This was just too shocking. With his own strength, he had turned the situation around. Jiang Chen had completely withstood the waves of attacks from those evil wolves. Jiang Chen's arrogance and despotism, in their eyes, was well-deserved and deserved. Damn! This is too strong. This guy seems to be injected with chicken blood. You can't judge a book by its cover. We have all looked down on Jiang Chen. I was quite disdainful of Jiang Chen before. It seems that this guy's strength is indeed amazing. That's right. If we can escape this time, Jiang Chen will be our savior. That's right. Although they look the same and their strength is about the same, Jiang Chen is indeed stronger. We are really different. These people's morale was also boosted by Jiang Chen. In an instant, they were all excited and began to fight back. When their lives were hanging by a thread, It was Jiang Chen who gave them the hope of survival. It was Jiang Chen who made them feel a trace of hope. Jiang Chen killed the enemy bravely. The wolves fell one after another. They saw the dawn of victory. If they followed Jiang Chen's footsteps, they would be able to leave this place alive. At this moment, they were united against a common enemy. No matter how much disdain they had for Jiang Chen before, they were now united. Unity was strength. Jiang Chen had become their idol. This was no joke. Although they were arrogant, Jiang Chen's strength was obviously stronger. Moreover, he was stronger than them by more than a level. The strong should be respected. Jiang Chen's sword aura was like a rainbow, killing all the wolves. Tong Ling followed closely behind and fought side by side with Jiang Chen. They went in and out and killed more than 30 wolves. At this time, the remaining wolves were also trembling. They hesitated and did not dare to attack Jiang Chen anymore. Their strength was so terrifying and their intelligence was almost no different from humans. They would naturally not do something that would bring about their own destruction. However, Jiang Chen did not intend to let them live. These guys killed without batting an eye. If he gathered more companions, they would probably die very, very miserably. Chapter 48-32. Jiang Chen was no longer as kind as before. When it was time to be cruel and merciless, he would not leave any leeway. Only by doing so could he strangle the danger in the cradle. Kill! Jiang Chen took the lead, killing the wild wolves until they couldn't move an inch. These examinees also started the final charge as if they had the help of God. In the end, Jiang Chen killed 90% of the wild wolves alone, which made them completely relieved. The wild wolves were all slaughtered, and their dangerous situation was completely resolved. All of them were so tired that their faces were pale, and they had no strength left in their bodies. Their injuries were very serious. Even if they didn't die, they would still lose a layer of skin. Thank you, Brother Jiang Chen, for helping us. We can't thank you enough. Yeah, Brother Jiang Chen is simply our second parent. Before, we were disdainful of Brother Jiang Chen, but now, we finally know Brother Jiang Chen's ability. Being the champion of the assessment twice, you are indeed extraordinary. Brother Jiang Chen, if you have any errands in the future, I will definitely not refuse. We firmly support you, Brother Jiang Chen. Everyone had absolute trust in Jiang Chen, because if it wasn't for Jiang Chen, they would already be dead. This was not an act. What did strength represent? Everyone understood that if it wasn't for Jiang Chen, they would have already become the prey of the wild wolves. How could they still have the time to sit here? The 10 of them couldn't even touch the wild wolf, but Jiang Chen had taken it down with his own strength. This was the gap between their strengths. Even a half-step Star Realm expert would have to admit defeat in front of Jiang Chen. This was the true strength. Everyone, you don't have to be so polite. This is how it should be. Jiang Chen slightly nodded. Not being arrogant after taking credit, he had already become a hero in their hearts. Such a person, even if he was a little arrogant, so what? It was natural for those with strength to be arrogant. This is a healing pill. It can help you recover quickly. Jiang Chen tossed out a dozen or so medicinal pills, and everyone's faces were filled with excitement as they thanked him profusely. Not only had Jiang Chen saved them, but he had also given them such precious medicinal pills, causing them to be even more unwavering towards Jiang Chen. Thank goodness I have you. Tong Ling's face was full of gratification as she let out a long sigh of relief. For a moment, she thought that she would never see Jiang Chen again in this lifetime. There's no need to be so courteous with me. Eat these 2 pills and let's hurry up and leave this place. I've been ambushed many times by demonic beasts. It seems like the demonic beasts in this 100-ghost bamboo forest have all gone berserk. We shouldn't stay here for long. Jiang Chen said seriously. All right. Tong Ling hurriedly entered a cultivation state to heal his wounds. Half a day later, everyone had rested up and were waiting for Jiang Chen's instructions. With Jiang Chen around, they did not intend to act alone. What would they do if they encountered any danger? Therefore, everyone chose to follow Jiang Chen and leave this place together. We've also been ambushed by a few waves of demonic beasts before this. These guys seem to be desperate to kill us all. It's not the first time these wolves have attacked us. Who knows how many more demonic beasts are eyeing us covetously in the surroundings. Sigh. Let's hurry up and leave this place. After all, nothing is more important than our lives. Everyone chimed in one after another. Their decision wasn't wrong. Jiang Chen did not wish to stay here for too long. No matter what, the examination wasn't that important anymore. Leaving this place alive was the most important thing. These demonic beasts might have mutated. When we first entered the 100-ghost bamboo forest, no demonic beasts attacked us. Demonic beasts weren't willing to fight with humans either. After all, as long as we don't disturb them, these demonic beasts wouldn't take the initiative to provoke humans. But now that things have changed, these demonic beasts seem to have lost their minds and are attacking us as though they've lost their minds. That's strange. Jiang Chen said in a low voice. He was starting to suspect that the reason why the entire 100-ghosts bamboo forest was in such a state was because of the release of that peerless demonic devil. Jiang Chen didn't know if it was because of him, but in that kind of environment, if he didn't fight with his life on the line, he would die. He had no other choice. Now, he could only hope that no more demonic beasts would attack them before they left. No matter what, it's better to be careful. Tong Ling and Jiang Chen were extremely cautious. The group of more than a dozen people had become extremely cautious at this moment. Compared to their lives, they'd rather leave this last trial. Where there's life, there's hope. Although they'd all experienced countless dangers for the Knights of the Apocalypse's trial, no one was willing to continue when they knew that they would die. However, good times didn't last long. On the second day, when Jiang Chen and his group were advancing cautiously in the bamboo forest, they were still targeted by demonic beasts. The reason why they were targeted was because Jiang Chen had always felt that something was wrong. Although his natal astral soul had yet to awaken, it was many times stronger than before. Naturally, his perception was also much sharper. Hundreds of mantises appeared in their surroundings. All of them were about a meter tall, and their long slender claws were like blades, gleaming with light. F***CK. So many mantises. Someone in the crowd exclaimed in shock. So many mantises were enough to make one's scalp go numb. More importantly, when these fellows were piled up together, it was extremely disgusting. Those with trypophobia would probably feel numb all over just by looking at it. These mantises are not easy to deal with either. I'm afraid there's going to be another fierce battle. Jiang Chen said with an incomparably solemn expression. Over 300 ferocious mantises surrounded them with claws as sharp as blades. They even felt a sense of suffocation. What are you waiting for? Brothers, let's go. Jiang Chen's mouth turned cold as he drew his sword. At this time, if they didn't rush out, they would only be greeted with more and more attacks. Another crisis had descended upon them, but they no longer had the fear they had the first time, because Jiang Chen's presence was like a stabilizing force in their hearts. However, they still had to be cautious. These mantises were definitely more terrifying than the previous wild wolves. After all, their numbers were there, and they were very fierce. Chi. The army of mantises arrived in a moment. Jiang Chen was still at the forefront. His heavenly dragon sword was invincible, killing a bloody path. However, it was also very difficult. One after another, mantises kept rushing forward. Their strength was not to be underestimated. It was impossible for Jiang Chen to take care of everything, so his pace of advancement was also very slow. The number of these mantises made Tong Ling and the others aghast. Jiang Chen led them and killed many mantises, but even if they were to fight 1 against 10, the situation was still very worrying. Dark green blood constantly splashed on the surrounding pine, cypress, and green bamboo. Jiang Chen was like a god of death, endlessly, and his combat strength was shocking. Chapter 48-33. Although Jiang Chen was very strong, and the people around him weren't weak either, there were just too many praying mantises. As the saying went, many ants could bite an elephant to death. They might very well be bitten to death. I can't, Jiang Chen. I can't hold on much longer. I can't either. Am I really going to die here? Damn it, after climbing this mountain and crossing that ridge, there's another pit in front of us. It's too hard for me. After experiencing so many dangers, their situation would only become more and more difficult. These praying mantises had once again become the death god's sickle of their fate. Seeing that Tong Ling was also injured, Jiang Chen frowned. These guys were really persistent. The monster beasts here had already become their greatest threat. No one knew how many monster beasts there were in the 100-ghost bamboo forest. There might even be an endless number of them. Outside the 100-ghost bamboo forest, Tong Yao and a dozen horsemen of the apocalypse were standing guard. There were still 4 days until the end of the trial, but there was still no news. Her heart was pounding, as if something was about to happen. As she gazed at the ancient bamboo swaying in the 100-ghost bamboo forest, Tong Yao felt that this trial wasn't going to be so simple. The dusk light shone on the bamboo forest, making it gloomy. Suddenly, several figures tore through the air. Tong Yao's expression tightened, and she held her breath. The newcomers were the vice-captain of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, Zhang Tiance. He was also a star-rank powerhouse. Zhang Tiance was clad in silver armor, and his eyes were like bronze bells as he stared straight ahead at the 100-ghost bamboo forest with a grim expression. In the entire Horsemen of the Apocalypse, Zhang Tiance was an existence below only one and above everyone else. He had absolute authority and was a star-grade powerhouse. Even in the Apocalypse Milky Way City, he was second to none. Tong Yao didn't dare to be the slightest bit negligent. She had only seen the vice-captain twice, and she only knew that he was a true star-rank powerhouse with unfathomable power. Beside Zhang Tiance, Yu Huan was also there, along with 2 other guards. All of them had extremely gloomy expressions on their faces. "Greetings, Vice-Captain." Tong Yao and the others bowed cautiously. Zhang Tiance nodded his head slightly and closed his eyes, causing the surrounding air to solidify. Tong Yao frowned her brows as an ominous feeling arose in her heart. "There's a change in the 100-ghost bamboo forest. Let's go back," Zhang Tiance said calmly. "But, Vice-Captain, all of the candidates are in the 100-ghosts bamboo forest." "They?" Tong Yao asked in a low voice. After all, his sister was still inside. How could he go back now? "It's impossible for them to come out again," Zhang Tiance sighed. Tong Yao's expression changed drastically as if she had been struck by lightning. She stared at Zhang Tiance in a daze. "This is impossible, Vice Leader. This is impossible, right? My sister is still inside," Tong Yao said with a trembling voice. "There's a change in the 100-ghost bamboo forest. Therefore, we must leave this place. They no longer have any chance of survival. Staying here is futile," Zhang Tiance said solemnly. "How could this be? How could this be? Please, Vice Guild Leader, please save them. My sister is still there. Please, Vice Guild Leader." Tong Yao bit her lips, her expression extremely grave. "Tong Yao, don't forget who you are. A soldier's duty is to obey orders. As a member of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, how can you let your emotions affect your decisions? Hurry up and leave this place to avoid being implicated," Yu Huan shouted sternly. Tong Yao was stunned, speechless for a moment. It seemed like this was the reason why she had been panicking for the past 2 days. "Sister, are you all right? Are you still alive? Could it be that there's been a change in the 100-ghost bamboo forest? Are you really? The City Lord's mansion has issued a secret order to retreat 15 kilometers from the 100-ghost bamboo forest and observe the situation. Even I can't enter. What I received was only an order from the City Lord's mansion. Right now, the demonic energy in the 100-ghost bamboo forest is soaring into the sky, and the world has been turned upside down. We can't enter just for a few dozen disciples of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Even if the Horsemen of the Apocalypse are inside the forest, we must leave. This is an order from the City Lord's mansion." Zhang Tiance's words made Tong Yao despair. The City Lord's mansion was the core of the entire Apocalypse planet and controlled the entire planet. Their orders were equivalent to the highest order. No matter what the reason was, they were completely abandoning them. Even the Horsemen of the Apocalypse were no exception. This was enough to show how dangerous this crisis was. The iron rule of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse was to never abandon anyone. But the City Lord's mansion's decision made everything clear. I'm sorry. Tong Yao muttered. She didn't know how to explain this to her father or how to face herself. The demonic energy in the 100-ghost bamboo forest was soaring into the sky, and the black demonic energy was shrouding it. This was definitely a great omen. "Retreat!" Zhang Tiance's expression was solemn as he stared at the 100-ghost bamboo forest. It was like a bomb that could explode at any moment. Danger could descend at any moment. Tong Yao was filled with unwillingness, but there was nothing she could do. Despair and grief were slowly growing in her heart. At this time, the 100-ghost bamboo forest was already burning with the flames of war. Jiang Chen was leading Tong Ling and the others, preparing to break through the encirclement for the 3rd time. Black King, make your move! Jiang Chen roared. The Black King stepped out and stood beside Jiang Chen, helping Jiang Chen as they began to break through the encirclement. This was already their third attempt. Jiang Chen didn't know if he could lead them out of the encirclement. However, there was no longer any chance for them to stop. If they did, they would only be sitting ducks. Hundreds of praying mantises forced them to retreat again and again. Apart from Jiang Chen, the others were once again in a deadlock. The Black King's figure was like a black shadow wielding a dragon-bone spear. He advanced and retreated in an orderly manner, killing without hesitation. At this time, the Black King had already recovered to the half-step star rank. During this period of time, he had been silently cultivating at Jiang Chen's request, waiting for the day when he would amaze the world with a single brilliant feat. The Black King's aura was like a rainbow. He stood beside Jiang Chen, helping Jiang Chen to cut through the enemy's rear, seizing cities and territories, killing over 3,000 enemies. What a terrifying fellow! Who is this person? Why haven't I seen him before? It's obvious that he's Brother Zhang's helper. Can't you tell? If we still can't break through this time, it means that we have reached the end of the road. That person's strength doesn't seem to be any weaker than Brother Zhang. With the two of them leading the charge, we will definitely be able to break through this time. Do your best. Yes, there will be no victory without bloodshed. If you dare to drag the Emperor down from his high horse, we will be done. Chapter 48-34. Meeting the young man in linen clothes again, the densely packed praying mantises were like a sharp long knife cutting through the sky, squeaking and screaming. It was very ear-piercing. Jiang Chen's heavenly dragon sword cut the praying mantis's sharp claws. It was like cutting iron like mud. More and more praying mantises fell under his feet. Although there were countless praying mantises, Jiang Chen's sword was still moving forward. Under the Black King's cooperation, Jiang Chen finally killed a bloody path. You guys go first. I'll bring up the rear. Jiang Chen shouted in a deep voice. Everyone's eyes lit up. They rushed towards the place where Jiang Chen was, running out without stopping. Tong Ling was always side by side with Jiang Chen. Even at the last moment, she was not in a hurry to retreat. She followed Jiang Chen, killing in and out. Together with the Black King, they killed hundreds of praying mantises, and finally let them escape. Jiang Chen and the Black King fought and retreated. It let those disciples finally let out a sigh of relief. They narrowly escaped death again and again. Jiang Chen has saved them twice. This kindness, no one will forget. They are not fools. Whoever's fist is the hard truth. Jiang Chen glanced at Tong Ling, quickly retreated, a shocking sword chi, smashed dozens of praying mantises, and hurriedly ran far away. Everyone kept running. After a long time, they finally stabilized. They escaped the pursuit of those praying mantises. In this battle, Jiang Chen also consumed a lot. Quickly swallowed a small rejuvenation pill. Everyone watched Jiang Chen swallow the small rejuvenation pill. They could not help but swallow their saliva. That was a life-saving treasure. He ate it just like that. Their hearts were dripping blood. The praying mantises were gone. The big stone in their hearts was also considered to be lifted. Experiencing the favor of death again and again, their spirit was about to collapse. Jiang Chen gave Tong Ling a small rejuvenation pill, which once again made everyone extremely envious. They were so envious that they wanted to beat their chests and stomp their feet. This was really 2F** King rich. Inhumanly rich. This is too expensive. Tong Ling shook his head when he saw the small rejuvenation pill in Jiang Chen's hand. Stop pretending. We're already so familiar with each other. Jiang Chen joked. Tong Ling blushed and glared at Jiang Chen. In the end, she took the small rejuvenation pill that Jiang Chen handed to her and carefully put it away. Why aren't you eating? Jiang Chen said. I can't bear to eat it unless it's a critical moment. Do you think I'm you? Tong Ling rolled her eyes at Jiang Chen and said indifferently. All right, let's continue forward. Our first task is to leave this place as soon as possible. Jiang Chen said. Although they had escaped from the hands of the praying mantises, now was not the time to let their guard down. If they didn't leave the 100 Ghosts bamboo forest, danger might come at any time. Chi chi. The sound of the praying mantises was still ringing in Jiang Chen's ears. Jiang Chen hurriedly called everyone to leave. The Black King followed beside Jiang Chen, looking cold and domineering. No one dared to ask him. Everyone followed the footsteps of Jiang Chen and once again embarked on the path of death. Only by not stopping could they ensure that danger wouldn't come so soon. Jiang Chen was constantly observing the surroundings. If there was even the slightest sign of trouble, he wouldn't get involved easily. Finally, the next morning, the group finally had a chance to rest and take a breather. Facing the morning sun and stepping on the rain dew, Jiang Chen didn't expect that they would be so unlucky. They had avoided one dangerous place after another, and now they were attacked by the demon beasts once again. This time, it was a wild boar that covered the entire mountain. There were wild boars that weighed more than 1,000 jin, and there were wild boars that were more than 3 meters long. They bared their fangs and looked extremely ferocious. Over 100 wild boars moved like the mountains were collapsing and the ground was cracking. The ground beneath their feet shook violently as if there was an earthquake. "Why are you still not running? What are you waiting for?" Jiang Chen shouted. Only then did everyone react. The wild boars rushed forward, trampling countless bamboos as they headed straight for Jiang Chen and the others. "Oh my God! Am I really destined to die here?" Tong Ling's face was filled with bitterness as he murmured. Jiang Chen brought them and started running in the 100-ghost bamboo forest. Jiang Chen squinted his eyes as he saw another group of people. The one leading the group was Luo Ying. Was this a three-army alliance? However, it seemed that Luo Ying and the others weren't doing much better than them. There were more than 20 people, and all of them looked pale as if they were running for their lives. Jiang Chen. Luo Ying also saw Jiang Chen at this moment. The joy in her eyes was beyond words. She had thought that Jiang Chen was dead and buried under the ground. She didn't expect that they would have a chance to meet again. However, even though they were reunited, they were in a desperate situation. "I didn't expect that we would meet again," Luo Ying said with a complicated look in her eyes. The bitterness in the corner of her mouth was obvious. "Luo Ying, you guys," Tong Ling said with a bewildered expression. "We have been attacked by demonic beasts. This is the 4th wave. This time, we have been chased for a day and a night." The exhaustion in Luo Ying's eyes explained everything. Every single one of them was on the verge of collapsing. More than 20 people had bitter expressions on their faces. Their hearts were heavy and they didn't dare to slack off. If they were the slightest bit careless, they could lose their lives here. 4 of their companions had already fallen behind. The next one could appear at any time. Death loomed over everyone's heads. They were already on the verge of death. At this moment, they were no longer in the mood to participate in the assessment. Being able to leave alive was more important than anything else. They were either covered with injuries or filled with despair. Their expressions were different, and some of them were even filled with confusion. Jiang Chen also saw one person. It was the young man in linen who had challenged him. Among this group of people, only he had a cold look on his face. His eyes were as sharp as knives as he looked at Jiang Chen without batting an eyelid. "If it wasn't for him, we would have been defeated in this battle. He is indeed very strong," Luo Ying said in a low voice. "We might have to join forces," Jiang Chen said with a smile. "If I can't leave this place, I hope to fight with you. I can feel that you have become stronger again." The young man in linen, Lang Lang, stared at Jiang Chen. He didn't seem to care about winning. On the contrary, he was more concerned about the battle with Jiang Chen. "There are hundreds of Dehuang bees behind us. They are as big as a human head. 4 people were pierced by their poisonous needles and died immediately. We must leave this place quickly," Luo Ying said in a serious tone. "There are also hundreds of wild boars behind us. Aren't we in a hopeless situation now?" Tong Ling murmured. His eyes were filled with anxiety. Buzz buzz buzz, buzz buzz. Chapter 48-35. Let's go. If we don't leave now, it will be too late. Those Dehuang bees are too scary. I don't want to see them again in my life. That's right. I don't want to be poisoned to death by them even if I die of exhaustion. What are you afraid of? At most we will die. Do you think we will be scared to death by those beasts? I am already prepared. Damn it, even if I die, I will drag a few of them down with me. Let's fight with them. We will die anyway. I don't want to die in such a useless way. More than 30 disciples were afraid of the beasts and some were excited. However, it was better to live than to die. If they could live, who would be willing to die? On the other side, the wild boar's roar was heard one after another. Screams of demonic beasts could be heard from all directions. Everyone knew that they had no way out. Their lives had reached the most crucial moment. There is no other way. We can only fight with our lives on the line, Jiang Chen said in a deep voice. Luo Ying and Tong Ling looked at him. As long as he said the word, they would not say anything else. Kill. The youth in linen held a long saber in his hand and shouted. Like a laser, he rushed into the enemy's formation. The dense swarm of Dahuang bees and the wild boars came one after another. In front of them, more than 30 people were quite insignificant. However, in order to survive, they had no other choice. Jiang Chen raised his sword and slashed at the Dahuang bees. The heavenly dragon's sword was unstoppable. The youngster and Jiang Chen were the most eye-catching. One of them had a blade and the other a sword. Both of them were decisive and ferocious. Bumblebee was like chopping melons and vegetables in their hands, advancing forward with indomitable will. The hundreds of wild boars were also very powerful. Luo Ying and the others joined forces to fight. Even with more than 30 people, they couldn't stop the charge of the wild boars. The formation was directly broken. This was unexpected because the wild boars were too overbearing. Coupled with the harassment from the side by the Dahuang bees, they were in a complete stalemate and had to advance step by step. Jiang Chen stood with his sword in his hand, and the young man in linen followed closely behind. The two of them were like two sharp blades, stabbing into the hearts of their enemies. They were invincible. However, there were simply too many Dahuang bees and wild boars. 2 fists were no match for 4 hands. Even Jiang Chen and the youth in linen clothes felt exhausted. No, I can't hold on any longer. Save me, save. A master in the 9th heaven of Star Emperor realm had been cut open by a wild boar before he could finish his words. His intestines were cut off. It was a bloody scene. Blood gushed out and splashed everywhere. The eyes of the surrounding people all turned solemn. They did not dare to be the slightest bit careless, because if they were to relax in the slightest, that person would be their final outcome, and it was very likely that they would end up even more miserable than him. The smell of death permeated everyone's hearts. The pressure was increasing. The attacks from the Dahuang bees and the wild boars were getting more and more intense. After someone died, the demonic beasts became more excited. They were even more bloodthirsty than before. I can't die. I can't die. I have to rush out. Someone couldn't stand the pressure from the surrounding demonic beasts and roared. However, after he left the crowd, he was pierced by 3 Dahuang bees in less than 10 breaths. The venom attacked his heart and killed him. Hiss! Tong Ling sucked in a breath of cold air. They could already feel the threat of death. The aura of death was even circulating in their blood, and they could die at any time. They would die if they waited for death. They would die if they ran out. They would die if they kept fighting. They felt they had fallen into a dead end. They had no chance to survive. The Black King was beside Jiang Chen. He cooperated with Jiang Chen seamlessly. Although they had cleared a bloody way out, they were caught by the countless Dahuang bees. The number of Dahuang bees was decreasing. Jiang Chen killed more than 10 wild boars. The youth in linen clothes was also fighting desperately. The number of demonic beasts he killed was almost the same as that of Jiang Chen. The 3 of them became the most horrible spears, tearing a wall of demonic beasts apart. Go! Keep up! Jiang Chen shouted. More than 30 people followed closely. However, they didn't expect that nearly half of the Dahuang bees were killed. They thought they had broken through the enemy's encirclement. However, there were too many demonic beasts. There were jackals, wolves, tigers, and leopards coming from all directions. There were snakes, insects, rats, and ants. The number was shocking. There were even more than 1,000 of them. They were completely surrounded by 3 layers of demonic beasts. It's over. It's really over this time. There are so many demonic beasts. We won't be able to kill them all even if we kill until the sky turns dark. Someone said in despair. This was the thought in everyone's mind because they couldn't see any hope anymore. There was a limit to one's strength. Jiang Chen and the youth in linen clothes were strong, but they couldn't fight against so many demonic beasts. Their area of activity was getting smaller and smaller. When they were all surrounded, it would be the time to face death. Everyone knew that they were already at the edge of life and death. Everyone knew that there was nothing they could do to turn the situation around. This examination had become their final battle. No matter what, it was still enough to make people feel sorrow in their hearts. Looks like it's time to fight with our lives. The youth in linen clothes said faintly as he glanced at Jiang Chen. Remember my name. I am a Xueqi. The youth in linen clothes raised his blade. His eyes were bloodshot. He looked like an unparalleled god of death. Wherever his blade passed, not even a blade of grass would be left. His killing intent pierced through the clouds. It was as if he was a divine weapon sent by the heavens. A Xueqi pushed his strength to the limit. His fearless spirit was worth learning from. When everyone knew that they were going to die, when there was endless despair, he was able to stand on his own and fight with all his might to kill the last of the demonic beasts. A Xueqi was strong, but facing so many demonic beasts, he didn't have much time left. He dashed left and right, trying to kill his way out. But there were countless demonic beasts coming one after another. There was no room for them to relax. They killed one group after another. That kind of despair was something that no one could understand. Blades, spears, swords, halberds. But the number of dead demonic beasts had already piled up like a mountain. They still couldn't see any hope. There were more and more demonic beasts around them. There were already thousands of them. Everyone was exhausted. They had already used 120% of their strength, but it was useless. So what if they die? They'll be a hero again in 18 years. You're right. So what if they die? I want to be a hero in my next life. How pitiful. How sad. We can't escape from this fate. Everyone's heart was filled with the aura of death. Time was getting shorter and shorter in their eyes. As Jiang Chen charged forward, he struck from both sides, killing countless demonic beasts. The blood beneath his feet had already formed a river. Chapter 48-36. Hold the line for me. I'll carve out a path for you. Jiang Chen looked at a Xueqi and said in a low voice. A Xueqi looked at Jiang Chen with a complicated expression. Did he really have a way to break out of the encirclement? How many trump cards did he have? Although a Xueqi was filled with battle intent toward Jiang Chen, it wasn't hostility. It was because he wanted to fight Jiang Chen. That's why he was eager to give it a try. But now that things had come to this, it was hard to tell if they could survive. Their only hope now was to leave the 100 Ghosts bamboo forest alive. Was Jiang Chen really trustworthy? His intuition told him that this was their only chance. A Xueqi nodded slightly. He pulled out his sword and looked around. He stood back to back with Jiang Chen. This time, Jiang Chen gave it his all. His limitless sword killed countless demonic beasts. Wherever his sword pointed, sword qi would spread 800 zhang. 26 swords. 27 swords. 28 swords. Jiang Chen was unstoppable. With the Black King and a Xueqi holding the line for him, he went on a killing spree. Solitary Sun Finger. Jiang Chen casted out the 9 tribulations imprisoning heavenly finger. With a single point of his finger, a raging wave was set off. Hundreds of demonic beasts were killed. The path in front of him was split open by Jiang Chen. Run! Jiang Chen shouted in a low voice. The crowd rushed forward to follow Jiang Chen. It was impossible for them to escape with their own strength. If Jiang Chen and a Xueqi could not break out of the encirclement, then there was no need for them to struggle. Quick! Run! Damn it, Jiang Chen is too powerful. Am I really going to be saved? Cut the crap. Run, run, run. Under a Xueqi's lead, more than 30 people dashed out of the demonic beast's defensive line and carved out a bloody path. However, wave after wave of attacks from the demonic beasts devoured Jiang Chen once again. Jiang Chen, hurry up and leave. Tong Ling pulled Jiang Chen and shouted. You guys go first. I'll be right behind you. Jiang Chen said. No, if we leave together. Tong Ling insisted. Don't talk nonsense. You can't stop them. Only I can. A Xueqi will lead you to break through the last layer of defense. Don't let my efforts go to waste. Jiang Chen roared. Go. Luo Ying pulled Tong Ling along. Although she didn't want to leave just like that, the pressure on Jiang Chen was too heavy. There were hundreds and thousands of beasts rushing towards him. Although he had carved out a bloody path, the beasts were still rushing towards him. They roared and howled as they disregarded their own lives and rushed forward with all their might. Their blood-red eyes were filled with bloodlust. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Furthermore, the number of demonic beasts was still increasing. Whether or not they could kill their way out was still unknown. It all depended on whether Xueqi and his men could counterattack. Time was of the essence, and every second counted. There was no room for hesitation. Staying alive was their only hope. Jiang Chen used the 9 tribulations imprisoning heavenly finger to carve out a bloody path. Xueqi did not disappoint and successfully broke through the encirclement. However, the demonic beasts were like waves, rushing towards them one after another. In the blink of an eye, Jiang Chen was drowned in the sea of demonic beasts. No! Tong Ling shouted at the top of his lungs. His eyes were wet. There were so many demonic beasts. There were thousands of them, and they were still increasing. Although Jiang Chen had opened a bloody path for them, he couldn't rush out because he was at the rear. This made Tong Ling extremely sad. Luo Ying's eyes were red and she clenched her teeth. She knew how terrifying this battle was, and she was even more aware of Jiang Chen's situation. As the demonic beast army gradually drowned Jiang Chen, he could no longer be seen. The scene became even more intense. We have to leave this place as soon as possible. Luo Ying pulled Tong Ling. Everyone was unwilling to slack off, because they didn't know when the demonic beasts would turn around and make a comeback. They could be surrounded again at any time, and they would be swallowed up in an instant like a flood. But what about Jiang Chen? Tong Ling roared. Her eyes were bloodshot, and she was hysterical. He can't come back anymore, Luo Ying also roared. Her heart was also filled with complicated feelings for Jiang Chen. However, in order to save them, Jiang Chen had been drowned by waves of demonic beasts. This was a situation that no one wanted to see, and Luo Ying was the same. However, there was no turning back now. Jiang Chen would definitely die. Tong Ling was shaken by Luo Ying's roar. Her heart was still struggling, but she knew that Jiang Chen had given them a chance to be reborn. If she stubbornly turned around and left, she would completely disappoint Jiang Chen's expectations. Then, what would be the point of Jiang Chen's death? Tong Ling's heart felt like it was being stabbed by a knife, and Luo Ying's face was also filled with sorrow. However, they could only desperately escape. Only by doing so could they not disappoint Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen was drowned in the demonic beast army. Everyone felt very regretful and sorrowful. Jiang Chen's death was heavier than Mount Tai. Among the demonic beast army, Jiang Chen had become a great hero in everyone's hearts. Xueqi cut through the wind and waves along the way, killing many demonic beasts. Jiang Chen had attracted a large number of demonic beasts, so he had the opportunity to break through the defense line. Xueqi looked back, his eyes sharp and very complicated. In the end, I still lost this battle, Xueqi murmured. Xueqi murmured to himself. Although the two of them had not really fought, he had already lost, and it was a crushing defeat. For the sake of everyone's lives, Jiang Chen had not hesitated to sacrifice himself. In the final battle, he had become food for thousands of demonic beasts. He had helped others, but he would never be able to come out. This was a real hero, a real person. Xueqi knew that he could not have done the same in this battle. As for the finger attack from Jiang Chen, even he was not sure if he could have withstood it. No matter what, it was impossible for Jiang Chen to come back. Xueqi could only lead everyone out of the ghost bamboo forest. However, Jiang Chen looked at the demonic beasts in all directions and continued to fight relentlessly. He stood back to back with the Black King, killing countless demonic beasts to his heart's content. His strength continued to stabilize, and his cultivation level completely stabilized at the 9th heaven of the Star Emperor realm. This battle had also made him feel unprecedentedly carefree. Master, what do we do? Can you still hold on? The Black King looked at Jiang Chen unhurriedly. There's no hurry. I'll train first and squeeze out the last bit of strength in my body. If I don't experience life and death, how can I transform? Let the tempest come more fiercely. Jiang Chen smiled faintly. The tens of thousands of demonic beasts in the surroundings had already smelled the blood and kept coming. More and more, there were more than 10 times as many demonic beasts as there were before. Chapter 48-37. Finally, when Jiang Chen had killed thousands of demonic beasts, he was surrounded by tens of thousands of demonic beasts. He couldn't hold on any longer. Open the gates and release the demonic beasts. Jiang Chen's eyes lit up and he smiled. All right. The Black King received the order and opened the gates of the Buddha prison palace. Tens of thousands of demonic beasts rushed out. There were thousands of half-step stellar-grade demonic beasts. Even Jiang Chen was shocked. Damn it! Wasn't this force too terrifying? No wonder the Black King kept telling him to call if there was any danger. These thousands of half-step stellar-grade demonic beasts were a force that could destroy heaven and earth. As the gates of the Buddha prison palace opened and the demonic beasts rushed out, the danger in the surroundings was instantly eliminated. Jiang Chen's tens of thousands of demonic beasts were full of vigor and vigor. In less than 30 minutes, almost all the demonic beasts had been devoured. The demonic beasts in the Buddha prison palace were terrifying existences. They had survived in the Buddha prison palace for so many years and were able to restore themselves to such a state. They were not ordinary people, and they might even be 1 in a million experts. Jiang Chen wiped away the sweat and blood at the corner of his mouth and smiled. His eyes were sharp and his expression was calm. He turned around and left without hesitation, full of calmness and confidence. Under the Black King's leadership, the Beast War instantly crushed the demonic beasts. Thousands of half-step stellar-grade demonic beasts were like a sharp knife, tearing apart all the demonic beasts. Violent. Bloody. His blood vessels expanded. Deafening battle cries rang out. At this moment, Tong Yao had not left the 100-ghost bamboo forest. Even though the guards had already left, she still persistently waited. As long as there was a chance of survival, she would not give up. As long as the examination was not over, there was a chance that Tong Ling would be able to walk out of the 100-ghost bamboo forest. At this time, a cloud of dust floated by. Hundreds of experts from the Horsemen of the Apocalypse arrived on white dragon horses. These white dragon horses could fly and had wings on their backs. They were a special breed that only the cavalry company of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse could equip. The white dragon horses were demonic beasts at the 8th or 9th level of the Star Emperor realm, and some were not inferior to the Horsemen of the Apocalypse warriors. Their leader was Yu Huan. At this moment, he took the lead and stood with his head held high, staring at the 100-ghost bamboo forest. Tong Yao, leave with me immediately. Retreat 10 miles away and guard this place. Otherwise, you will be of your position and investigated. Yu Huan said coldly and sternly. Tong Yao knew that she had no choice but to obey Commander Yu's words. Leaving this place was also to better protect the Apocalypse Galaxy City. As for what kind of turmoil would occur in the 100-ghost bamboo forest, it was still unknown. However, the fact that they had mobilized the Apocalypse Cavalry Company was enough to tell that the situation this time was different from the past. The news from the City Lord's mansion had already made many people jittery. I'm out. I'm finally out. Ha 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 ha. Damn it, it wasn't easy. Boo-hoo, I'm still alive. I'm actually still alive. I don't want to enter the 100-ghost bamboo forest ever again. Phew. It feels so good to be alive. Everyone sighed. Being able to leave the 100-ghost bamboo forest alive was simply a miracle. Although each of them looked more miserable than the last, each of them had a strong will and strength. Walking out of the 100-ghost bamboo forest alive was the best proof of their strength. More than 80 people had entered, but only 30 had come out. This number was a little too high. However, compared to this sudden situation, it was already a fantasy that they could come out alive. They're out? They're still alive? Tong Yao was extremely excited. Her pupils constricted as she frantically ran toward the edge of the 100-ghost bamboo forest. In the crowd, she immediately spotted her younger sister, Tong Ling. How is this possible? Yu Huan frowned in disbelief. These people actually came out alive? Wasn't it said that the 100-ghost bamboo forest had become a purgatory? Even Stargrade powerhouses might not be able to come out. However, the facts spoke louder than words. Yu Huan was still very shocked. Every warrior of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse behind him was also pleasantly surprised. They had originally thought that the Horsemen of the Apocalypse would be completely annihilated in this assessment, but they hadn't expected that more than 30 people would actually complete the assessment. Ling. Tong Yao rushed up to her younger sister and grasped her hand tightly. She was filled with relief. Congratulations, Ling. From now on, you're a member of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Tong Yao was finally relieved. She no longer had to worry about her younger sister's safety. If it weren't for the dignity of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, she would have already hugged her younger sister and cried tears of joy. However, Tong Ling's expression wasn't very good. It wasn't just her. Everyone else was the same. Their originally excited expressions had turned very solemn. Those who survived are the pride of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse and the future pillars of the Apocalypse Galaxy City. On behalf of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, I welcome you to join us. Yu Huan said faintly. However, these people were still very depressed at this time. What's wrong, Ling Er? What happened? Tong Yao also realized that there was something wrong with their mood. Jiang Chen died. In order to save us, he was besieged by monster beasts and died. All of our lives were saved by Jiang Chen. Tong Ling murmured. Jiang Chen. Tong Yao trembled. She didn't like Jiang Chen. Not only was this guy arrogant, but he was also arrogant and conceited. Although he had some ability, he had offended Commander Yu Huan. Even if he entered the Horsemen of the Apocalypse in the future, he definitely wouldn't have an easy time in Commander Yu's hands. Did he save all of these people by himself? Tong Yao found it hard to believe. Commander Yu, Brother Jiang Chen plunged into a horde of demonic beasts all by himself in order to save us. All of our lives were saved by him. He is the true number one. That's right, Brother Jiang Chen is the true champion. All of us have to admit defeat. Without Jiang Chen, we might have already been fed to the wolf cubs. Jiang Chen is the real champion of this assessment. Although Jiang Chen is dead, he will always live in our hearts. Commander Yu, please confer a posthumous title to Jiang Chen. Everyone spoke in unison, expressing their strong desire. Everyone was willing to be behind Jiang Chen. He's already dead, so what's the use of a posthumous title? A dead person has no right to enter the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. You will be the rising stars of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. A dead person is insignificant. Chapter 48-38. This isn't fair. Brother Jiang Chen sacrificed himself to save all of us. He should be conferred a posthumous title. That's right. Brother Jiang Chen is a great hero in all of our hearts. He is the true soul of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Only such a person is worthy of becoming a warrior of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Commander Yu, please confer a posthumous title to Jiang Chen. Everyone cupped their hands in supplication. Their hearts had always been occupied by grief. Jiang Chen's death was an inescapable topic in their hearts, and it was also a lifelong wake-up call. That kind of invisible love was the most admirable. Nonsense. How great is the Horseman of the Apocalypse? How can a dead person like him change that? You want me to confer a posthumous title on him? Dream on. He can only blame his own lack of strength for his death. If he wants to establish himself in the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, strength is fundamental. Yu Huan said coldly. Jiang Chen's death had saved him the trouble of doing it himself. Otherwise, even if he had entered the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, he definitely wouldn't have let him off. Everyone's faces were filled with resentment. However, Yu Huan was the deputy commander, so they simply couldn't stand against him. His domineering aura was suffocating. Although they were unwilling, Yu Huan's words were as firm as steel and couldn't be resisted. That's right. No matter where you are, strength is respected. At the edge of the 100-ghost bamboo forest, a white-clothed figure slowly walked over under the green bamboo. His voice wasn't loud, but it was like a clap of thunder, deafening everyone and pleasantly surprised them. Jiang Chen? Is it really Jiang Chen? He's not dead. How is that possible? Ha ha ha, he's really not dead. That's great. Brother Jiang Chen is still alive. The white-clothed figure with an extraordinary temperament and a large sword on his back was standing tall. Who else could it be but Jiang Chen? At that moment, everyone was in an uproar. They had originally thought that Jiang Chen had been devoured by the monster horde. They hadn't expected him to still be alive and walk out of the 100-ghost bamboo forest unscathed. This was really great news. In their hearts, Jiang Chen's position was unshakable. Jiang Chen's existence was the spiritual pillar in everyone's hearts. In that moment of despair, Jiang Chen had given them a last chance at life, but he had put himself in danger. None of them were fools. Everything that Jiang Chen had done for them was engraved in their hearts. Jiang Chen's strength made them admire him even more. To be able to stand out among the tens of thousands of demonic beasts was almost impossible, but Jiang Chen had done it. He was like a god, invincible and invincible. Luo Ying and Tong Ling looked at each other. Both of them had an indescribable feeling. Their hearts were filled with joy. Jiang Chen was like a beacon for them. He had gone through so many trials and tribulations. They thought that they were going to die, but he was still alive. All of this felt like a dream, as if it was a lifetime ago. Alive. Alive. As long as you're alive. Luo Ying held back her tears. Her heart was like a blooming flower. Fortunately, I didn't disappoint you. The 100-ghost bamboo forest is nothing to me, Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen said faintly. However, this time, no one dared to look down on him. Instead, thunderous applause resounded. More than 30 new students who had passed the assessment were full of admiration for Jiang Chen. His words weren't arrogant, but they were filled with absolute confidence. Good, Jiang Chen. Although you're very arrogant, don't forget that from now on, you're my soldier. Yu Huan's eyes shone lang-lang as he looked at Jiang Chen. Since we've already completed the assessment of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, I'd like to ask if Commander Yu has the strength to become the leader of the 3 armies. If Commander Yu can't even defeat me, a new recruit of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, what qualifications do you have to hold such a high position? I'm afraid you won't be able to convince the masses, right? Therefore, Jiang Chen requests to be sent to battle. Jiang Chen's eyes were sharp and murderous. When their gazes met, it was as if blades and swords were intertwined. The tense atmosphere instantly spread throughout the entire 100-ghost bamboo forest. A single stone stirred up 1,000 ripples. In an instant, everyone's expression became serious. No matter if it was the freshman who had just passed the exam or the cavalry company led by Yu Huan, all of them had a serious expression on their faces. This Jiang Chen was too arrogant. Wasn't this the same Commander Yu who had provoked them? Although the Horsemen of the Apocalypse could challenge experts and even their superiors, this was the first time they had heard of someone who had just been promoted challenging a commander. What is Brother Jiang Chen trying to do? Isn't this too rash? Commander Yu has always found him an eyesore. Isn't he just throwing himself at the muzzle? That's right. Although Brother Jiang Chen is very strong, he's the deputy commander of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. He commands 500 Horsemen of the Apocalypse and has an illustrious status and formidable strength. Isn't this courting death? Brother Jiang Chen, you can't do that. The 2 of them are at loggerheads, and neither plans to retreat. I'm afraid this battle is unavoidable. I don't think Brother Jiang Chen will lose in a showdown between the strong and the strong. Do you really think Brother Jiang Chen is so weak to be able to escape from thousands of monsters? Most of the people around didn't have much confidence in Jiang Chen. A person's reputation was like a tree's shadow. How could a newly promoted warrior defeat Commander Yu? What right did he have to sit in the position of deputy commander? You really make people worry. Su Yu sighed. It seemed that Jiang Chen's ambition was far greater than he had imagined. He had directly locked onto the position of deputy commander of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. If Yu Huan accepted this challenge, it would definitely set off waves in the entire Horsemen of the Apocalypse and drive countless people crazy. A showdown between a newcomer and a veteran was destined to collide. Aren't you afraid of death? Ha ha! Yu Huan was so angry that he laughed. Jiang Chen had finally done something that would bring about his own destruction. Although he had broken through to the 9th firmament of the Star Emperor realm, he was still trash in his eyes. Then let's see if Commander Yu dares to accept the challenge. Jiang Chen crossed his arms and spoke with fervor and assurance, looking at Yu Huan with interest. Yu Huan looked coldly at Jiang Chen. Did this guy really have the confidence to challenge him? On what basis? I'm a 2nd-level star transformation powerhouse. How can you contend with me? Besides, I'm a veteran of hundreds of battles. Why should I be afraid of you? Jiang Chen had always been very biased against him, and he had long had grievances with him. This time, he had led everyone out of the 100 Ghosts bamboo forest, and his reputation had soared. If he didn't quickly suppress his arrogance, wouldn't he be laughed at by even more people? Chapter 48-39. Your challenge is a little too hasty. This is no different from hitting a rock with an egg. Luo Ying appeared beside Jiang Chen and said in a low voice. Luo Ying appeared at Jiang Chen's side and said in a low voice. Jiang Chen was indeed very strong. Although she had no idea how he managed to escape from the horde of demonic beasts, Yu Huan was a fellow even scarier than the demonic beasts. He was the vice commander of the Knights of Apocalypse. He wasn't an ordinary person. The commander was the backbone of the Knights of Apocalypse. He wasn't as simple as others thought. Do you think I will definitely lose? Jiang Chen looked at Luo Ying. Luo Ying was silent for a moment, speechless. She was only worried about Jiang Chen's safety. There was no doubt about Jiang Chen's strength for him to reach this step. However, Yu Huan's reputation was too great, and he was also a member of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. How could Luo Ying not be worried? I can challenge you, but don't say that I'm bullying you. If you really want to bet, how can you do it without some stakes? Yu Huan said fearlessly. In his eyes, Jiang Chen was just like a milkman. He didn't feel any pressure at all. However, Yu Huan wouldn't simply fight with him. How could he do it without any stakes? I'm in a high position, so it's natural for me to agree. In the worst-case scenario, if I really lose, I'll lose all face. Yu Huan wasn't stupid. It was as difficult as ascending to the heavens to find someone smarter than him in the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Would Jiang Chen be short of money when he was with the young master of the Starry River auction house? So why didn't he take this opportunity to take a good look at him? Wouldn't killing him be letting him off too easily? He couldn't squeeze anything more out of that damned dog. 100 million source stones was already his limit. Therefore, Yu Huan had to find another way. He needed too many source stones to break through to the star grade. Even if he needed billions of them, he still might not be able to complete the transformation. Now, it was as difficult as ascending to the heavens for him to reach the third level of the star transformation. I want that damned dog. I want to grind his bones to ashes and dismember his corpse into 1,000 pieces. Jiang Chen said in a deep voice. Fine, if you lose, you'll get 500 million grade 5 origin stones. Yu Huan stared coldly at Jiang Chen said. 500 million? Wasn't this robbery? How many of us here have 500 million grade 5 origin stones? I'm afraid there isn't even one, right? Too ruthless. Brother Jiang Chen will go bankrupt. This challenge was initiated by Jiang Chen, so no matter what the wager is, he has to accept it. 500 million origin stones, that's enough to make one's scalp go numb. I actually hope that Brother Jiang Chen can win this round. If he can win and become our commander, wouldn't that be wonderful? Shut up. A loose tongue may cause trouble. Do you think Commander Yu is a pushover? Whether he wins or loses this battle, Brother Jiang Chen will definitely become famous. Do you really think Brother Jiang Chen is stupid? Many people in the crowd were worried for Jiang Chen. However, after thinking about it carefully, Jiang Chen, as the strongest expert among them, might not have no chance of winning against Yu Huan. What if he won? Perhaps he would soar to the sky. Even if he lost, he would only lose some origin stones at most. Therefore, no matter who won or lost, it might not be a good thing or a bad thing. They were just taking what they needed. At this moment, Jiang Chen could not wait any longer. He definitely could not let De Huang continue to be tortured. His goal was to defeat Yu Huan, save De Huang, and then think of a way to deal with him. If he wanted to kill him, he had to make sure that nothing went wrong. I won't bully you. I'll give you 3 days to recuperate. 3 days later, I'll be waiting for you at the Night Division's practice field. If you can defeat me, then you can directly be promoted to captain or even deputy commander. I'm looking forward to it, but I don't know how long you can last against me, Yu Huan said with a faint smile. Yu Huan said with a faint smile. The fish was about to take the bait. 500 million, shining white silver, was about to enter his pocket. Jiang Chen, Jiang Chen, I hope you don't disappoint me too much. Humph. I'll wait and see. Jiang Chen's eyes blazed with fighting spirit. The battle in 3 days was bound to attract countless people. Let's go. There are only 37 candidates left, so all of you have passed the test. This matter is extraordinary. Quickly follow me back to the Knights of the Apocalypse to report. Tong Yao shouted in a deep voice. Everyone put away their expressions and hurriedly followed Tong Yao to the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. As for what had happened in the 100 Ghosts bamboo forest, no one knew. The demon beasts were rioting, and the wind was howling. This was not something new warriors of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse could understand. Tong Ling and Luo Ying couldn't help but feel curious. They wanted to ask Jiang Chen how he managed to get through it, but Jiang Chen didn't say a word from beginning to end. The two of them were left in suspense. In the end, Jiang Chen didn't want to tell them, so they didn't ask any further. Luo Ying immediately left the group. She looked flustered as though she had something important to do. After asking for leave from Tong Yao, She quickly headed towards the center of the city. Although Jiang Chen was a little puzzled, he didn't know what Luoying was hiding. Along the way, Tongling looked very happy. She was much more excited than when she first came out of the 100-ghost bamboo forest. At that time, she was already full of despair. If Jiang Chen really died, it would be a huge blow to her. Tong Yao looked at the two of them talking and laughing, and she was very unhappy. This Jiang Chen was a toad lusting after swan meat. He even wanted to flirt with her sister. Was he even worthy? Tong Yao looked down on Jiang Chen and felt that he had ulterior motives. Don't hand yourself over to just anyone. Some people are just beasts in human form. They look like they're powerful, but they're actually just a big stick. Don't be blinded by greed. Remember this big sister's words. You'd rather believe in ghosts than men's lousy mouths. Tong Yao sneered. Big sister, Jiang Chen isn't what you think. Don't misunderstand. We're innocent. Tong Ling smiled bitterly. On one side was her life and death brother, Jiang Chen, and on the other side was her big sister. She was in a bit of a dilemma. It seems that Captain Tong has been injured quite badly. Jiang Chen said with a smile. Don't look at me like that. You're not worthy of my sister. After you fight with Commander Yu in a few days, you'll know that the Knights of Apocalypse isn't a place where you can behave atrociously. Tong Yao snorted coldly, not taking Jiang Chen seriously at all. Tong Ling smiled. Jiang Chen could only give her some face and not argue with this menopausal Tong Yao. Brother Jiang, are you really confident in the battle in 3 days? Tong Ling's smile faded and she looked at Jiang Chen solemnly. I'm not. Jiang Chen shrugged. Then why are you? Tong Ling covered her mouth. How would I know if I don't try? Besides, this deputy commander is so arrogant. I have to teach him a lesson. Chapter 48-40. The duel between Jiang Chen and Deputy Commander Yu Huan shocked the entire horsemen of the apocalypse. Yu Huan's reputation was naturally well known. The title of Deputy Commander wasn't just for show. He had absolute strength and status, and he had worked his way up to where he was today. Thus, the news spread very quickly. Even though the horsemen of the apocalypse were jittery today, countless people were still full of anticipation. However, nearly half of the horsemen of the apocalypse had been pulled to the front lines. The change in the 100-ghost bamboo forest affected the entire apocalypse Milky Way city, and they still didn't know the reason. Perhaps only Jiang Chen knew the reason, but he couldn't be bothered to find trouble for himself. If it didn't concern him, he would just hang around. Furthermore, there were many experts in the apocalypse Milky Way city, so how could it be his turn to act? However, Jiang Chen didn't dare to take it lightly. A person's reputation was like a tree's shadow. Since Yu Huan could be so arrogant, his strength couldn't be underestimated. It was very likely that he had reached the 2nd level of the half-step star realm. If he really broke through to the 3rd level, Jiang Chen knew that his chances of winning would be extremely slim. However, he had to give it a try. De Huang was in his hands, so he couldn't alert the enemy. Thus, he couldn't lose this battle no matter what. Now that Jiang Chen had completely stabilized his cultivation in the 9th level of the Star Emperor realm, as long as it wasn't a super freak, Jiang Chen was confident in fighting against a half-step star realm expert. The Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Heaven's Prison. For millions of years, this place had been extremely dark, enveloped by a peerless array formation, and guarded by hundreds of horsemen of the apocalypse. Even a fly couldn't fly out. The Heaven's Prison was the tightest, coldest, and most despairing. Legend had it that countless peerless demons had been imprisoned in the Heaven's Prison, and some had even been imprisoned there until they died. The people here never saw the light of day all year round, and the bone-chilling cold made one's hair stand on end. A person shrouded in a black robe quietly walked into the Heaven's Prison, holding a box of delicious food. Bang! Bang! The black-robed man knocked heavily on the door of the cell twice. Many demons and ghosts let out deafening roars. Let me out! Let me out! I'm not guilty. Why am I locked up here? Why? You'll all die a horrible death. Let me out if you can, you bastard. These were all kinds of evil and crooked sects that were more threatening than the prisoners on death row in the Horsemen of the Apocalypse or some captured demons. In the deepest part of the room, a Da Huang dog was lying on its back on a cold stone bed like a dead dog. Smells good. Is it a lotus leaf chicken? Damn, this lord dog loves it the most. With a loud thud, The Dahuang dog leaped up from the stone bed, wagged its tail and walked over. Its eyes were filled with a bright light, staring straight at the box in the black-cloaked man's hand. "You have a sharp nose," the black-cloaked man said indifferently. Then he threw the food box to Big Yellow. Big Yellow didn't show any mercy. He kicked the food box over. Then he picked up the chicken and started eating it. It was a delicious meal. Big Yellow didn't hesitate at all. "It's a dog's nose, of course." "Wahahaha," De Huang said indifferently. After eating the lotus leaf chicken, De Huang dog lay down comfortably on the stone bed. He was calm and relaxed, with his 4 feet facing the sky, looking very relaxed. If he didn't know, he might have thought that he was here on vacation. He didn't feel the slightest bit of pressure or unhappiness. Even the black-robed man didn't understand. This guy was just so unrestrained. 3 days later, I will take you away from here. From then on, never come back. The black-robed man said in a deep voice. You want to let me go? Big Huang abruptly sat up and stared at the black-robed man with a confused look. This person had been delivering food to him all the time. At least 2 or 3 days, and at most 8 to 10 days, he would always give him something delicious. Although he didn't know who it was, Big Huang was always grateful. Yes, but you can't come back. Tianqi Galaxy City is not a place where you can behave atrociously. If you leave here, you still have a chance to live. The black-robed man's cold voice made De Huang feel somewhat puzzled. However, by doing so, he had inexplicably increased the pressure on him. Why are you doing this? Who are you? De Huang's eyes narrowed. Why did he have to wait until now to let him go? Who I am is not important, the black-robed man murmured. Facing De Huang's question, he was calm and didn't seem nervous at all. I still don't know your name, De Huang dog. My name. You can call me De Huang, De Huang said. De Huang? The black-robed man laughed involuntarily. De Huang then De Huang. Although it sounded a little comical, it was the purest and most simple name. What's your name? De Huang stared at the back of the black-robed man as he asked. We're both at the ends of the world. Why must we know each other? The black-robed man disappeared into the darkness. Maybe in a few days, he would leave this place. At that time, they would be strangers. De Huang dog once again plunged his head into the stone bed. Holding a blade of grass in his mouth, he murmured, Little Chenzi, where exactly are you? This lord dog is about to die from depression. I believe you must be here. Jiang Chen was also extremely worried about De Huang's safety. He didn't even hesitate to use his natal astral soul that was still far from being formed. However, after sweeping through half of the Apocalypse Milky Way City, he still found nothing. He wanted to find De Huang's location before fighting Yu Huan, but he obviously miscalculated. He didn't find De Huang's location. He was most likely imprisoned in an extremely mysterious place. Jiang Chen constantly recuperated his strength. This battle was too important to him. It wasn't so easy to establish a foothold in the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Moreover, he and Yu Huan already had a deep grudge. At this time, a message from Lu Dehua came from Jiang Chen's communication jade slip. This was given to him by Lu Dehua before he left. Communication jade slips were very precious and were passed down from ancient times. Even ordinary stellar-level powerhouses didn't have them. Because Jiang Chen was the chief alchemist of the Galactic River Auction House, he was specially provided with a communication jade slip. Brother Jiang, it's urgent. Come quickly. These few words made Jiang Chen quite surprised. Why was Lu Dehua looking for him so anxiously? He had already accumulated enough alchemy contribution points this year. Moreover, he was now the chief alchemist, so he no longer had any restrictions. However, thanks to Lu Dehua's appreciation, Jiang Chen knew that he was weak alone. He had to rely on a large force like the Galactic River Auction House to take root in the Apocalypse Milky Way City. Chapter 48-41. When Jiang Chen appeared at the Xinghe auction house, Wu Man was already waiting at the door, which made Jiang Chen feel a little flattered. Brother Jiang, you're here. Wu Man smiled. Her smile was like a flower, and her curved eyebrows were like crescent moons. She was very beautiful, tall and graceful. Standing at the door of the Xinghe auction house, she formed a beautiful scenery. She was dressed in a red robe, unstained by a speck of dust. And I've kept you waiting. Jiang Chen nodded silently. No, I just arrived. Brother Jiang, please. Wu Man smiled. I wonder why Brother Lu has come looking for me this time? Jiang Chen asked. I don't know, but young Master Lu values him very much. Even I don't know who he is. Wu Man shook her head. Young Master Lu is already waiting for you in the inner hall. Brother Jiang, I'll stop here. Jiang Chen nodded and entered the inner hall. At this moment, he saw Lu Dehua pacing back and forth with his hands clasped together, looking very anxious. Brother Lu, are you waiting for me? Lu Dehua was overjoyed when Jiang Chen walked over. Of course, ha ha ha. Brother Jiang, you're here. Lu Dehua laughed and walked in front of Jiang Chen, overjoyed. I have a friend who wants to see you. This person is my sister. Because she has something important to ask of you, I couldn't help but trouble Brother Jiang. Lu Dehua said with some embarrassment. Brother Lu has been very kind to me. Jiang Chen is not an ungrateful person. If there's any merit, I'm willing to serve you. Jiang Chen said. Lu Dehua was a person who valued friendship very much. Although he had not known Jiang Chen for a long time, Jiang Chen could see that this person was not the kind of person who was full of intrigue. Otherwise, even if he was given the title of Chief Alchemist, he would not be willing to stay. That's great. Brother Jiang, I'll thank you first. I will definitely remember this kindness in my heart. Lu Dehua grabbed Jiang Chen's hand gratefully and said solemnly. Lu Dehua brought Jiang Chen into his secret meeting room. Lu Dehua never opened this place to the public, and it was also his most secretive place. If they weren't special friends, he would never bring them here. Even Jiang Chen was here for the first time. In a hidden chamber, a woman wearing a black gauze dress and a bamboo hat stood in the distance with her back to Jiang Chen and Lu Dehua. Sister, this is our chief alchemist. I hope he can help you. Lu Dehua said. The woman wearing the bamboo hat slowly turned around. Then her body trembled, and her eyes were filled with shock. Jiang Chen frowned slightly. Although he couldn't see the woman's face, he could feel that she was extremely excited. It's you? A surprised voice rang out as the woman took off her bamboo hat. At that moment, Jiang Chen's face was also filled with astonishment. Ah, how could it be you? Jiang Chen smiled bitterly. The woman under the bamboo hat was none other than Luo Ying, who had left in a hurry. You two know each other? Lu Dehua didn't expect the two of them to know each other. It seemed that it was really fate. As the saying goes, there are no stories without coincidences. Lu Dehua was also very surprised that the two of them met. Since he knew his sister, their relationship would be even stronger in the future. Lu Dehua valued Jiang Chen's strength and character. It seemed that they would have to keep in touch in the future. You're the chief alchemist of the Star River Auction House? How long have you been in the Heavenly Awakening Galaxy City? Luo Ying couldn't believe it at all. She thought that the chief alchemist of the Star River Auction House must be a highly respected old man. She didn't expect it to be Jiang Chen. It's just a coincidence. Talent can't be concealed. Jiang Chen smiled. I really didn't expect it to be you. Luo Ying found it hard to accept and didn't even know what to do. Brother Jiang is the real deal. Sister, don't you two know each other? Don't tell me you don't believe in Brother Jiang's ability? Lu Dehua smiled. It's not that I don't believe it. Sigh. Luo Ying obviously had something difficult to say, but she didn't say it directly. If you have something to say, just say it. It's not your character to be hesitant. Jiang Chen shook his head. In that case, I have nothing to hide. My mother was on the verge of death, so I entered the 100-ghost bamboo forest in search of the 3 lives flower. You know that, but even with the medicinal pellets concocted from the 3 lives flower, my mother's pain was still not alleviated. Instead, her injuries worsened. Left with no other choice, I found Lu Dehua and asked him to help me find a true alchemy expert. The chief alchemist of the Star River Auction House should have some ability. Luo Ying said. It seems that your mother's condition is very serious. Even a peerless elixir like the 3 lives flower couldn't help her recover. Jiang Chen said. Yes, that's why I'm so impatient. Luo Ying said with a sorrowful face. That doesn't mean that Brother Jiang doesn't have a way. Lu Dehua said. Even a stellar-level alchemist can't cure my mother. Maybe, we're really going to be separated forever. Luo Ying knew that Jiang Chen was strong and had powerful means, but this wasn't a joke. Her mother's illness had been accumulating for a long time. Are you looking down on me? Or do you think I can't do it? Jiang Chen shrugged his shoulders and looked at Luo Ying helplessly. It seemed that she didn't have much confidence in him. I didn't mean that. Luo Ying blushed. She no longer had the calmness she had when facing Jiang Chen. She was afraid that her problem would implicate Jiang Chen. That's right. I have to let Brother Jiang try. I'm very confident in him. Lu Dehua said seriously. No one knew Jiang Chen's ability better than him. However, there were some things that Jiang Chen didn't say, so he naturally wouldn't tell Luo Ying. Jiang Chen, I'm counting on you this time. Luo Ying was silent for a moment. Her eyes were filled with hope because she was running out of time, or rather, her mother was running out of chances. Let's go. It's more important to save someone. Let's go and see Auntie first. Jiang Chen said. Luo Ying nodded. The two left the Xinghe auction house directly. Jiang Chen followed behind Luo Ying and walked towards the east. Wu Man stared at their backs silently with a complicated look in her eyes. Stop looking. It's not that easy to chase after Jiang Chen. Even I didn't expect them to know each other. Who is that person? Wu Man asked, her heart full of doubts. You shouldn't ask. Lu Dehua said. There are some people and some things that you shouldn't know. Knowing less might be a good thing for you. Chapter 48-42. In the Heavenly Awakening Galaxy City, there was an elegant and secluded mountain path surrounded by waterfalls on three sides. The water rippled and wild chrysanthemums bloomed all over the surrounding hills. 5 colored butterflies fluttered gracefully between the mountains. The chirping of birds and the howling of beasts lingered for a long time. The surrounding green mountains and clear waters made the surrounding air exceptionally refreshing and refreshing. The flowing water and falling flowers created a leisurely and elegant atmosphere. The surrounding pavilions were also unique. At a glance, one could tell that they were the handiwork of skilled craftsmen. There were fishes in the water, carefree and unrestrained. Jiang Chen couldn't help but feel a little envious. Under the waterfall, water vapor surrounded half of the small building on the central island. It was undulating, like a celestial mist lingering in the air, and a purple aura rising. The environment here was comparable to a paradise on Earth. It was breathtaking, and the spiritual aura was even more indescribable. Jiang Chen could see that this place had been modified by a very terrifying expert. Especially with the water gathering on 3 sides and the support of the array, it was simply an extremely abnormal paradise. It's here. Luo Ying looked at Jiang Chen and said, This is really a paradise. It's too wonderful for words. Let's go. Jiang Chen looked around and said in admiration. At this moment, a red-haired young man in a red robe stood in the distance with his hands behind his back. He had delicate features and was standing on a bamboo raft, following the current. The young man was 9 feet tall, and he looked mighty and domineering. Invisible. He carried a surge of overbearing true energy, and the surrounding water rippled even though there was no wind. Who are you? The red-haired man's eyes were burning as he asked coldly. He was overbearing. Jiang Chen looked at Luo Ying. Her eyes were also flashing with anxiety and helplessness. Big brother. He's my friend. He's here to treat Mother's illness. Friend? What friend? With just him? Does he think he's qualified to treat Mother's illness? Humph. He's overestimating himself. Emo Han smiled coldly. His eyes were like knives, and that kind of oppressive aura made Jiang Chen feel a little suffocated. 2 words, very strong. 3 words, extremely strong. Jiang Chen knew that he was absolutely not this person's opponent. What was Luo Ying's identity? Her brother was actually so terrifying? That kind of disdain was clearly written on his face. To Jiang Chen, this fellow was indeed somewhat annoying, because he was targeting him for no reason at all. Mother's life is already at stake. Even the divine doctor and the 3 lives flower are of no help. I can only place my hopes on my friend. Luo Ying gritted her teeth. Although she knew that her brother was very stubborn, she had no other choice at this time. If she didn't let Jiang Chen try, her mother might not live past the next few days. Desperate to find a doctor. Humph. You are really stupid. Even the divine doctor can't do anything. Do you think he can change his fate? Perhaps this is my mother's fate. I will not allow anyone to taint my mother. I will send her off on her last journey. Emo Han closed his eyes and heaved a long sigh.
The sadness in his eyes was obvious. From this, it could be seen that his deep love for his mother was not an act.
Big brother, just let Jiang Chen have a try. It's a desperate attempt. Mother's illness is beyond cure. We have no other way.
Luo Ying roared with tears in her eyes.
Bastard! Do you think Mother is someone he can touch? Mother's illness is already beyond cure. What else do you want? Mother's last wish is to grow old peacefully. Aren't you going against her original wish? I don't believe that some country bumpkin can cure Mother. Don't waste my time. Get lost! Emo Han shouted in a low voice. His domineering aura was unparalleled. It seems that identity is far more valuable than life. Maybe I shouldn't have come. Jiang Chen shook his head. Jiang Chen, don't misunderstand. I will definitely convince my brother. Luo Ying grabbed Jiang Chen's arm. What do you mean by that? Are you courting death? Suddenly, a gust of wind flashed. Jiang Chen only felt that his vision turned black. Emo Han had already arrived in front of him. At this time, Luo Ying stood in front of him without hesitation. Big brother, he is someone I brought here. Are you done yet? If you want to kill him, you have to kill me first. Anyway, I don't want to live anymore. Without mother, without family, what's the point of living? Luo Ying said with a self-deprecating smile.
Emo Han frowned and his eyes were filled with murderous intent.
My mother's body is priceless. Why should I believe you? Emo Han said in an overbearing tone. I didn't force you to believe me. Don't doubt the people you use. Since that's the case, forget it. Jiang Chen shrugged his shoulders and said. Since the other party couldn't believe him, why should he stick a warm face to a cold butt? What a big tone. Even a divine doctor isn't as arrogant as you. Who do you think you are? Believe it or not, I can kill you in one move. Emo Han looked at Jiang Chen coldly. If you kill me, your mother will never wake up. Jiang Chen didn't retreat. Their eyes stared at each other. Even in the face of Emo Han, Jiang Chen didn't back down. With his strength, even if he wanted to escape, Emo Han might not be able to catch him. Good. Ha ha ha, you are really arrogant. You are the first person who dares to talk to me like this. I will give you a chance. If you can't cure my mother, I will take your life. Emo Han said in a deep voice. If you have something to say, come at me. Big brother, if you dare to touch a hair on Jiang Chen's head, I will not rest until you die.
Luo Ying gritted her teeth and said.
I am curious. Is he your lover, or did you find him to treat my mother? Emo Han's voice was cold. His words were as sharp as a knife. He didn't give Luo Ying any face. What if I can cure her? Jiang Chen said lightly. If you can cure her, I will reward you handsomely. Jiang Chen shook his head. If I can cure her, you will kneel in front of me and beg for forgiveness. The killing intent in Emo Han's eyes became stronger. Jiang Chen. Luo Ying looked at Jiang Chen in disbelief. She didn't expect him to be so persistent. The two of them were completely at loggerheads. Emo Han was so angry that he laughed and said word by word. All right, if you can cure my mother, I won't hesitate even if I have to kneel and beg for forgiveness. If you can't cure her, I will tear your body into 1,000 pieces and grind your bones to ashes. Maybe, you will regret what you said. Jiang Chen smiled faintly. People fight for their dignity. Buddha fight for the time it takes to burn a stick of incense. Jiang Chen had never been scared. Although he hadn't seen the condition of Luo Ying's mother, he naturally wouldn't show any weakness when being threatened. Jiang Chen had saved countless people. He had seen all kinds of big scenes. How could he be ordered to retreat by Emo Han? Jiang Chen had saved countless people. Moreover, he had been entrusted with a task, so he had done it for the sake of Luo Ying and not for the sake of this mad bull. I am looking forward to it. Chapter 48-43. I'm sorry, Jiang Chen. My big brother. Jiang Chen waved his hand. It's okay. Let's go see your mother first. Although Jiang Chen was not worried, Luo Ying had always been brooding over it. Even if Jiang Chen could not cure her mother, she would not blame Jiang Chen. As for her big brother, she would not let him threaten Jiang Chen even if she had to risk her life. The two of them entered the small building between the pools. The bamboo house was serene and elegant, quiet and simple. As soon as they entered the house, Jiang Chen saw a middle-aged woman lying on the bed. Her breath was weak, and her pulse was like a thread.
It seemed that she was indeed on the verge of death.
There was no sign of life at all. In less than 3 days, she would probably die. Her illness and her injuries were too severe. Jiang Chen could not help but frown. It seemed that it was not an easy task for him. "Mother, I brought my friend, young Master Jiang Chen, to treat you," Luo Ying said in a low voice.
She did not dare to speak loudly for fear of startling her mother.
"Mother!" Luo Ying called out again. Her heart could not help but tighten.
"She has already fainted,"
Jiang Chen said.
"What?"
Luo Ying took a step forward and lifted the green veil. As expected, her mother's breathing had become extremely slow. Her face was pale, and her complexion was like golden paper. The woman's figure was graceful and elegant. Even though her vitality was weak, she had not lost the peerless elegance of the past. It was no wonder that she could give birth to such a beautiful daughter. Luo Ying's expression was very ugly. Her mother's situation was worrying. It was hard to predict whether she would live or die. Now that she had fainted, she was very nervous. "Jiang Chen, I'm begging you. No matter what, you must cure my mother. Even if I have to work like an ox or a horse for you, I won't hesitate." Luo Ying's eyes were misty. Her filial piety had moved Jiang Chen greatly, but this wasn't something that could be resolved with just a few words. Even if she became his slave, what could she do? Her mother's condition might not improve. Everything depended on fate, on whether or not Jiang Chen could pull her mother back from the gates of hell.
"I'll do my best,"
Jiang Chen solemnly said. His gaze was heavy as he lifted the veil and stretched out his hand to feel Luo Ying's mother's pulse. Luo Ying knew that the situation wasn't optimistic. "What other pills did your mother take before? Who treated her?" Jiang Chen asked. "The miracle doctor from the Milky Way city tried to treat my mother, but he could only choose to give up."
"That's right, medicine."
Luo Ying hurriedly went to the table to find a bottle of pills. When Jiang Chen opened it, he found that there were no more pills in the bottle. He could only smell the faint smell of herbs. This should be a pill that strengthens the body and prolongs life.
"I'm afraid that it won't be of any help to your mother."
Jiang Chen's words made Luo Ying tense up again. "What about the 3 lives flower that you obtained before? Why didn't you give it to your mother? The 3 lives flower should be of great help to your mother." Jiang Chen said. "The miracle doctor said that the 3 lives flower's medicinal properties were too strong, so it had to be refined into pills to be reused. Hence, he used the 3 lives flower to refine pills to treat my mother. Unfortunately, the effects of the pills were minimal." "That's not right. The 3 lives flower's medicinal properties are extremely strong, and it is blessed by the heavens. Even if it is refined into a pill, its medicinal properties will not be weakened in the slightest. However, I can't sense any 3 lives flower's aura from this pill bottle. It's very likely that your 3 lives flower has been replaced."
Jiang Chen shook his head as he spoke.
"That's impossible. How could it be? The miracle doctor's reputation is very resounding. Moreover, he is also very famous in the Tianqi Milky Way city. How could he do such a thing?" Luo Ying didn't dare to believe it, but Jiang Chen's confident gaze made her hesitate. The 3 lives flower might really be useful. The miracle doctor had asked her to find the 3 lives flower no matter what, but the 3 lives flower didn't appear in the pills. Perhaps there was something fishy going on. "Are you sure?" Jiang Chen. "It's absolutely true. There isn't the slightest trace of the 3 lives flower's scent. The 3 lives flower must have been replaced," Jiang Chen said meticulously. "Damn it! This bastard! I must kill him." Luo Ying's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. She had painstakingly found the 3 lives flower. She had spent a lot of effort and almost lost her life to find the 3 lives flower for her mother. However, it had become someone else's possession. This miracle doctor was simply a bastard. "It's meaningless to talk about this now. Therefore, you must cure your mother as soon as possible. Without the 3 lives flower, your mother's illness will be quite troublesome." Jiang Chen muttered. "Back then, my mother was injured by the silver-ringed evil spirit python. The poison attacked her heart. She relied on her own willpower to persevere until now. However, she has been plagued by illness all these years. The silver-ringed evil spirit python's poison is unparalleled in the world. Anyone who is hit by it will die without a doubt. Now, all the bones in her body have turned black. The miracle doctor said. That bastard said that even a supreme god wouldn't be able to save her.
Luo Ying was struggling in her heart.
Not necessarily. I'll try. The process might be very painful, but the snake's poison isn't too big of a problem for me. Jiang Chen said. Really? Luo Ying was pleasantly surprised. She grabbed Jiang Chen's arm tightly with her eyes full of affection. Don't get too excited. Jiang Chen smiled awkwardly. Luo Ying's whole body was about to stick to him. I'm sorry. I was too excited. Luo Ying's pretty face was slightly red. She knew that her previous actions were rather extreme. Fortunately, Jiang Chen didn't blame her. Moreover, the two of them had a very good relationship. However, the more it was like this, the more embarrassed she felt. Protect me. I'm going to scrape her bones to cure the poison. Only by burning her with 5 kinds of divine flames can the snake's poison be dispelled. Moreover, the poison in your mother's body has already spread all over her body. This kind of pain is no different from splitting her tendons and dislocating her bones. Jiang Chen's eyes were full of seriousness. Luo Ying nodded slightly and left the room. Old lady, can you hold on? Yuanwen slowly opened her eyes and looked at Jiang Chen with a complicated expression. She didn't expect that Jiang Chen's prediction would come true. He was able to see through the divine doctor's tricks and guessed that she wasn't able to fool him. You already knew. Yuanwen's voice was low as she murmured. Poor parents in the world. You just don't want them to see your dying side. Jiang Chen smiled. Thank you for your understanding. However, I'm still a little worried about leaving just like that. I'm worried. Sigh. By the way, was what you said just now true? Can you really cure me? Yuanwen's eyes narrowed slightly. She was even more doubtful and shocked at the same time. She had looked for many people in the Heaven Awakening Galaxy City, but none of them could do anything. However, he could boast about it. Could a kid who hadn't even broken through the stellar level really have the ability to defy the heavens and change his fate? Chapter 48-44. I'm willing to give it a try. The 5 elemental divine fire can cure all kinds of poison in the world. To me, no poison can do anything to me. I'm already immune to poison, and using fire to cure poison is a very effective method. Jiang Chen explained word by word. Immune to poison. Yuanwen sized up Jiang Chen and nodded. The 5 elemental divine fire should be a heavenly flame that only alchemists can use. Rumor has it that the heavenly flame is very terrifying and hard to find. It seems like it's fate that can find an expert like you. If I die, take care of for me. I know she likes you. Senior, you're worrying too much. Don't worry, I'll do my best to help you get through this. Jiang Chen was stunned and smiled bitterly. He wasn't in the mood to think about love. All right. Yuanwen didn't have much interaction with Jiang Chen. After all, her body was very weak now. Whether she could survive or not depended on Jiang Chen. Endure the pain. You might wish you were dead. Jiang Chen said bluntly. The 5 elemental divine fire gathered together to scrape the bone to cure the poison. One could imagine the danger and pain involved. Only Jiang Chen would dare to do this. If he was not careful, he might lose his life. However, to Jiang Chen, he was the ancestor of playing with fire. The scariness of the 5 elemental divine fire was indescribable. He hadn't used it for a long time, but it didn't mean that it wasn't strong. Any alchemist would be shocked when they saw the 5 elemental divine fire in Jiang Chen's hand. Jiang Chen carefully started to use the 5 elemental divine fire to cure the poison. Seconds and minutes passed. Yuanwen's face kept twitching and twisting, becoming extremely ferocious. Every time she twitched and fainted, it made Jiang Chen's heart beat faster. If she couldn't hold on any longer, all his previous efforts would be in vain. Therefore, in order to cure the poison, Yuanwen had to be able to guarantee that she wouldn't be tortured to death. Yuanwen kept roaring in her heart. For her child, she had to survive. Jiang Chen was even more careful than she was. If he made the slightest mistake, he would be consigned to eternal damnation. Jiang Chen had perfect control over the power of the 5 elements divine flame. In an instant, it had already reached its pinnacle. Crackling sounds could be heard from time to time. Yuanwen was already on the verge of death because the 5 elemental divine fire was just too strong. She couldn't even hold on anymore. The scorching waves of the 5-elemental divine fire roasted her flesh and bones. Coupled with her extremely weak state, she could die at any moment. "Hold on!" Jiang Chen's shout startled Yuan Wen. Jiang Chen's voice came from the depths of her soul. She was both shocked and aghast. Jiang Chen's soul strength was actually so terrifying? It could penetrate deeply into people's hearts. However, Yuan Wen's spirit was also greatly boosted. Jiang Chen took advantage of this opportunity to speed up. The 5-elemental divine fire finally finished scraping the bones to remove the poison when the sun set. Yuan Wen collapsed on the bed again. Her entire body was pitch black, but her complexion had recovered a lot. She was no longer as sallow as before, but a lot more tender and rosy. "Pooh!" Jiang Chen spurted out a mouthful of blood. He was in great pain. If it weren't for the powerful Genesis Qi in his body, he wouldn't have been able to support himself to complete the feat of scraping the bones to remove the poison. "Are you all right?" Yuan Wen looked worriedly at Jiang Chen and asked weakly. "I'm just overworked. It's too difficult to control the 5-elemental divine fire after such a long period of treatment." Jiang Chen smiled, wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth. He looked calm and confident. "Fortunately, I didn't fail." Jiang Chen breathed a long sigh of relief. He didn't care about Mo Han, but he finally had an explanation for Luo Ying. "Thank you." Yuan Wen's eyes were filled with relief, but she was exhausted because she was also exhausted. She had been fighting the 5-elemental divine fire and was highly strained. She was like a lamp that had run out of oil. If she fell asleep, it would take a long time for her to wake up. "Come in." Jiang Chen shouted to Luo Ying outside the door. Luo Ying couldn't wait to rush into the room. She looked at the exhausted Jiang Chen, and then at her unconscious mother on the bed. She was still very nervous. At this moment, her mother's body was covered with black powder, which should be snake venom. Could it be that Jiang Chen really succeeded? "Jiang Chen, my mother, your mother is very tenacious. She held on," Jiang Chen said. Luo Ying was stunned. In the next moment, she cried tears of joy and instantly threw herself into Jiang Chen's arms. His trust didn't let her down. Her heart also felt like it had been reborn. Luo Ying cried tears of joy. Jiang Chen had never seen Luo Ying like this, crying like a child. Her mother was the culmination of all her efforts over the years. Luo Ying only wanted to cure her mother's illness. She didn't have any other thoughts. Even when she was deceived by that so-called divine doctor, she didn't know it. Luo Ying wasn't a weak woman. From the moment Jiang Chen met her, she was like this. But at this moment, seeing that her mother's illness was getting better, the tense Luo Ying finally released herself. It was as if a huge stone in her heart had finally fallen. That kind of feeling couldn't be described with words. Jiang Chen's clothes were wet from Luo Ying's tears, but Jiang Chen didn't interrupt her. For her, nothing could make her happier than him curing her mother. Only when there's a mother, there's a home. Jiang Chen couldn't help but think of his old father in the divine world, as well as Yan Chenyu and the others. That was his home. "The poison in Auntie's body has been completely removed by me. You just need to wash her well." Jiang Chen patted Luo Ying's shoulder and said, Luo Ying actually forgot for a moment. Her face turned red as she quickly left Jiang Chen's shoulder. At this time, in the distant void, Mo Han came over on his sword. His eyes were flashing with indescribable excitement, because he knew that his mother's illness had been cured. "You really cured my mother." Mo Han's eyes were as cold as ice. He glanced at his mother and then stared at Jiang Chen. That kind of feeling made Jiang Chen unable to understand it. "Mother needs to rest now. Big brother, you can leave first." Luo Ying frowned and said, "If you dare to touch a single hair on Jiang Chen's head, I won't let you go." Mo Han turned around and left. Jiang Chen also nodded at Luo Ying and left the room. Outside the small building, the shadow of the moon was sparse. The moonlight of the lotus pond was reflected in the rippling blue lake. Mo Han looked at Jiang Chen for a long time. Suddenly, he knelt down on one knee and said, Chapter 48-45. Jiang Chen was startled as well. He didn't expect that Mo Han, an overbearing man who had his eyes on the top of his head, would actually kneel down. Although it was reasonable, it was still beyond his expectation. A man's knees were worth his weight in gold. Although the two of them had an agreement before, Mo Han's willingness to kneel in front of him and beg for forgiveness still touched him. Mo Han was just a cold-blooded person. He didn't believe that Jiang Chen could cure his mother, so he was so indifferent to Jiang Chen. At this moment, Jiang Chen's great kindness was like giving him a new lease on life. As long as his mother was alive, his faith would still be there. Get up. I didn't mean to make things difficult for you. Saving a life is better than building a 7-storied pagoda. I only came for Luo Ying's sake. Jiang Chen said. Mister doesn't need to hold a grudge. If you have any dissatisfaction, just tell me. I can't let Mr. bear Mo Han's sins. Mo Han slowly stood up and said in a righteous manner. His tone was filled with guilt and remorse. No need. Go see your mother later. I have something to do, so I'll be leaving first. Tell Luo Ying for me. Jiang Chen smiled slightly, turned around, and left the small building. Mo Han had a complicated look in his eyes. He was full of admiration for Jiang Chen. Such a person was really a great talent. Moreover, he didn't take credit for it and didn't have the slightest bit of arrogance. Fortunately, his sister had made a true friend. After returning to the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, Jiang Chen rested for a day and completely stabilized his strength at the peak of the 9th heaven of the Star Emperor realm. He was determined to win this battle. De Huang, it won't be long before I take you away. I'll make that Yu Huan pay with his blood. Jiang Chen clenched his fists and stared at the rising sun in the distance. This battle was bound to be extraordinary and would attract the attention of countless people. At this moment, the horsemen of the apocalypse in the arena had already made their preparations. Thousands of horsemen were silently watching because today's battle was something they had never heard of before. A newly promoted horseman of the apocalypse challenging Commander Yu Huan was something new. Although the heavenly awakening Milky Way city hadn't been peaceful recently and most of the horsemen of the apocalypse had been sent out, there were still a lot of people who stayed in the base camp. These people were very excited after learning about the battle between Yu Huan and Jiang Chen. Their daily life was quite boring apart from training and cultivation. Now, this battle had become the focus of everyone's attentions. In today's battle, I'm afraid Commander Yu is going to show off his might again. Ha! I heard that Jiang Chen isn't a pushover either. He just entered the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, yet he dares to be so high profile and cause trouble. Humph. Interesting. It is said that he obtained first place in all 3 segments of the test and even led everyone out of the sealed 100 Ghost Bamboo Forest. That is not something that just anyone can do. You're right. I'm actually looking forward to his appearance. Commander Yu has been extremely arrogant and despotic these past few years. There are very few people who dare to be enemies with him. This battle is bound to attract a lot of people. I'm afraid there are people who can't wait for Commander Yu to fall. Hee. You can eat whatever you want, but you can't say whatever you want. Be careful that the walls have ears. After all, Commander Yu is our copper bell. His status, strength, and aura aren't something we can compare to. I feel that Jiang Chen will definitely lose this battle. He just entered the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, yet he dares to challenge the old man. He's courting death. There was a lot of noise in the crowd, but most people were not optimistic about Jiang Chen. After all, Yu Huan's ability was publicly acknowledged. Many half-step star grades hadn't been able to shake his position, which was enough to show that his strength was unquestionable. In the entire Horsemen of the Apocalypse, 30% of the half-step star grades were at the first star transformation. Only a few were at the second star transformation, and very few were at the third star transformation. Yu Huan belonged to the latter group. Once he reached the third star transformation, he would become the core of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. He might even break through to the star realm at any time. Once he broke through, he would be like a carp leaping over the dragon gate and soaring into the sky. In the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, there was always a possibility. They were the most powerful existences in the Apocalypse Galaxy City, guarding the safety of the Apocalypse planet. After all, Jiang Chen was a newcomer, and many people didn't understand him at all. However, the fact that he could challenge Yu Huan showed his courage. How could they not take a good look at such a troublemaker? More and more people gathered around the arena in all directions. The Horsemen of the Apocalypse didn't restrict challenges within the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. They could even challenge powerhouses to make them more courageous and develop better. If Yu Huan was defeated, then Jiang Chen's name would definitely rise. After this battle, the Horsemen of the Apocalypse would also notice Jiang Chen. If he wanted to become famous, he had to gain more attention. There was only one way to become strong, and that was to continuously defeat those who stood in his way. The strong never feared challenges. Jiang Chen was fully prepared. He didn't dare to slack off against this outstanding half-step star warrior. The weight of Commander Yu's name was too heavy. Moreover, the two of them had already agreed that he couldn't cower in the slightest. When Jiang Chen appeared in front of the stage, countless people made way for him. Some were envious, some were worried, some were mocking, and some were doubtful. The shot will hit the bird that sticks out. Wasn't Jiang Chen afraid of becoming the public enemy by doing this? Clearly, he wasn't afraid. Even the gazes from the surroundings didn't make him hesitate in the slightest. When Jiang Chen finally stepped onto the stage, waves of cheers rang out. He knew that these cheers weren't for him, but for the battle. Only a few people thought that Jiang Chen would win. Only those that had been brought back by Jiang Chen from the 100-ghost bamboo forest knew how strong Jiang Chen was. However, how could Yu Huan be someone with an undeserved reputation? Su Yu and the 30-odd newly promoted horsemen stared at Jiang Chen with sparkling eyes. Tong Ling was also among them. Her eyes were filled with emotion, and her heart was tightly clenched. This battle had been too unfair for Jiang Chen, yet Jiang Chen had still resolutely done so. There was no way out. Jiang Chen, do your best. I believe in you. Chapter 48-46. Survival of the fittest. Only the strong could stand on the shoulders of the masses and look down on the masses. Only the strong had the right to speak. Yu Huan was naturally not to be outdone, but as a high-ranking commander, the reason he had agreed to Jiang Chen was that he still had 500 million source stones. Otherwise, why would he be willing to fight him? If he lost, he would be the one to lose face. If there was no reward for winning, who would be willing? Yu Huan was someone who wouldn't release the eagle until he saw the rabbit. Without benefits, he couldn't be bothered to play games with Jiang Chen. However, Jiang Chen was too flashy. He had to teach him a lesson. Otherwise, how could he establish himself in the horsemen of the apocalypse? Don't waste your time. Jiang Chen can't be Yu Huan's match. Tong Yao glanced at her younger sister and said calmly. She seemed very confident in Yu Huan. Sister, I believe Jiang Chen can do it. He has never disappointed me. Tong Ling looked at her sister with unwavering eyes without any hesitation. Never let you down? Ha! Tong Yao giggled. Do you know how strong Commander Yu Huan is? Do you know how capable the deputy commander of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse is? Do you think anyone can be a commander? You don't know. Because you just joined the Horsemen of the Apocalypse and know nothing about what's going on here. Let me tell you, there are thousands of half-step star states in the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, but there are only a few dozen commanders. That's because there isn't a commander. He has to be able to fight 10 at once. Only by defeating 20 experts of the same level can he become a deputy commander. Only by defeating 50 can he become a commander. Yu Huan has to defeat 20 half-step star states to become a true deputy commander. Do you think Jiang Chen can defeat 20 half-step star states? Tong Yao raised her eyebrows slightly, her face proud as she spoke disdainfully. At that moment, Tong Ling was a little worried and even a little shaken. 20 half-step star states. That was a nightmare. Yu Huan was actually this strong? Jiang Chen was only at the peak of the Star Emperor realm. No matter how strong he was and how talented he was, could he defeat 20 half-step star-level masters? Moreover, it couldn't be forgotten that those who could enter the Horsemen of the Apocalypse were already 1 in a million existences. To stand out from these people, one had to be the best of the best. Jiang Chen had more chances of winning this battle. Many old horsemen snorted disdainfully at Jiang Chen. They had seen Yu Huan's might. This guy is actually so terrifying, Tong Ling murmured, but the arrow on the bowstring had to be fired. Jiang Chen had no way out. Whether or not Jiang Chen can survive this battle will depend on his luck. Hehe. If he is lucky enough to survive, you should stay away from him in the future. It's very difficult for arrogant and conceited people to have a good development in the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, Tong Yao said bluntly. Even though she knew that Tong Ling and Jiang Chen had a close relationship, she had to make a decision at this time. Otherwise, her sister would definitely be looked down upon by many people in the Horsemen of the Apocalypse in the future. It would be as difficult as ascending to heaven for her to have a good development. The Horseman of the Apocalypse was a place where the fittest survived. No one would sympathize with the weak here. I won't. I believe that Jiang Chen can definitely do it, Tongling said stubbornly. Tongling said stubbornly. Jiang Chen had already stepped onto the stage. The battle was imminent. Whoosh, whoosh. A gust of wind flashed, and a silver figure broke through the air. The air was constantly exploding and rustling. Yu Huan stood with his hands clasped behind his back. His expression was fierce, and his aura was vigorous as he slowly walked over. I didn't expect you to be so bold. You actually dared to keep the appointment. Yu Huan smiled faintly. Whether it's life or death, there has to be a result, right? I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't dare to come. After all, losing to a newcomer isn't something to be proud of. Jiang Chen said indifferently with a cold expression. Yu Huan was taken aback. He was so angry that he laughed, and his face even looked somewhat sinister. You really won't shed a tear until you see your coffin, Jiang Chen. Today, I'll let you know that the dignity of the commander of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse is inviolable. If I can kill you, I definitely won't show mercy. Yu Huan's voice was like a great bell, overflowing with domineeringness. That kind of thunderous momentum was extremely terrifying, and it completely enveloped Jiang Chen, causing the people at the edge of the arena to become nervous. Jiang Chen's arrogance completely ignited Yu Huan's anger. This battle would be the battle where he would re-establish his might, and also let these newcomers see his ability. The Horseman of the Apocalypse was not a place for them to play house. This Jiang Chen is really crazy. Damn it, even I want to go up and beat him up. Heh heh heh, it's not our turn to make a move yet. Commander, you will definitely teach him a good lesson. As long as he enters the Horseman of the Apocalypse, he'll have to crouch even if he's a dragon and crouch even if he's a tiger. The shot will hit the bird that sticks out. This guy has no idea who he's talking to. He's clearly trying to establish himself in our Horseman of the Apocalypse. This isn't his remote little mountain village. If he really wants to establish himself here, he'll have to show some real ability. But this guy is really blind. He actually wants to make a move on Commander Yu? Ha! He's courting death in the wrong place. But I'm looking forward to seeing how long this arrogant little brat can last. 15 minutes? I wonder if he can do it. You think too highly of him. How strong can a guy at the 9th firmament of the Imperial Star Realm be? He's just playing to the gallery. Just wait for a good show later. Yu Huan's momentum and majesty were not to be trifled with. The position of deputy commander was even more daunting to many people. Only this newborn calf who was not afraid of tigers wanted to wrestle with Commander Yu. Make your move. You only have one chance. Yu Huan Lang said, looking at Jiang Chen. If he still needed to go all out against a mere 9th firmament of the Imperial Star Realm, wouldn't the entire Horsemen of the Apocalypse laugh their heads off? How could he keep a foothold in the Horsemen of the Apocalypse? Jiang Chen didn't stand on ceremony. He had to go all out in this battle. He wasn't sure, but he had to fight. Since Yu Huan had given him such an opportunity, Jiang Chen naturally couldn't miss it. He would teach him a lesson first. Jiang Chen directly displayed the dragon transformation, and his strength suddenly soared. It was not something an ordinary 9th firmament of the Imperial Star Realm could compare with at all. Holding the heavenly dragon sword in his hand, he cleaved through the wind and waves like an invincible dragon. As the sword slashed down, it was like a roaring dragon, bringing along 9 layers of hurricanes that crushed down. When an expert made a move, it was obvious whether he was real or not. Many old men at the peak of the Star Emperor realm were shocked. Only a few people could block this sword attack. Even those who were half a step away from the Star Emperor realm would have to avoid it. You're tuning in to the Xueqi's Martial Arts Saga YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.